Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55% so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now your host, Ace.
I
told you. And remember what I said? What happens if Miami wins this game?
Yeah.
The fact that it's tied is crazy to me. Listen, all I'm saying is that 94% wasn't just outright win. That 94% was minus the 12.5. You understand what I'm saying?
Tied.
So if Buffalo doesn't win this game by 2 touchdowns, DraftKings Sportsbook just had a huge payday. And as is the sports betting podcast, that feels like they do exactly what they were doing, but also they kind of needed them to step up. Oh, that's the nicest downtown Buffalo's looked in a while.
There's a lot of football out there.
Yeah. I mean, well, because
I forgot what
they're playing in Buffalo.
I thought they were playing close because they play them close every time.
The Dolphins' defense has looked atrocious.
It's a divisional game. They play each other all the time. They know each other extremely well. It's not. There's no surprise that the game is trending.
Didn't they play New England last week and get roasted by New England?
No, they lost by 6.
Yeah, they lost
33-27.
What did we all pick for this game? Did we all pick this game?
Nah,
no.
We don't usually pick Thursday games.
I picked the
we
game.
Can post it in the chat.
You did. Well, no, you posted in the chat. I don't think everybody posted in the chat about the game.
I still got the Bills winning this thing, and I got the under in this.
I would have taken Miami with the points, honestly. That's just too much fun.
Sorry, I probably would have taken the points if I was putting money on it, just because of the points.
The Bills secondary is not good enough. And like, they went up there with Skylar Thompson and lost by 3. And this is mostly the same team offensively.
I just don't like 10-point spreads, especially early in the season. I don't think I know enough about these teams. I've been saying 10+.
Yeah, but yeah,
I think we know
like I said, the
teams.
Bills, Miami is discombobulated, and it's 14-14. I mean, regardless, Buffalo. Nah, they're not the best team. I think the
just so y'all know, I've already started
the best
recording.
team,
So.
AFC.
Okay, cool.
I know.
Even at 1-1.
All right, gentlemen.
Well, they actually given a good game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Shouldn't be surprised.
You really did all 32. All right, and can't see this though. I'm doing this off my phone. Okay, so it's Panthers and Falcons. Let's do our top 15. We're not going to do all 32. I'll post your other 32.
I just asked, and you said we weren't doing it. Literally,
no, we're going to do the top 15.
Well, you could have said that. I didn't write anything down in order, minus what I put in the chat, of the 10 teams. That's why I asked you, so I could possibly jot it down before the 2 of these guys got on.
Behind the scenes, fellas. Behind the scenes, everybody.
I'm gonna edit all of this out anyway. Or maybe I'll leave it in.
You always leave it in.
Yeah.
Leevon, I'll just go by your top 10. That's what I'll do.
But that's not in order, sir. I said that. It's not in order.
Well, you know what? What? That's why you need to be a better producer for your own takes. How about that? I'll leave this then.
I literally asked this man less than 5 minutes ago, we doing the test? He's like, nope, we're not doing it. I was like, okay.
That's kind of wrong. You actually gave him time. You could actually had time.
I gave him time.
You could have gave him time
Leevon,
by saying it.
No, Leevon, you can go last.
Okay, thank you.
First.
Great.
I will go first. You're welcome. I will go first. Okay. I agree. I'm gonna go 10 to. I'm gonna go 15. Okay. The 15th best team in the NFL is the 49ers. Even when with their backup quarterback, who they're gonna need to actually be good, which is old McCorkle Jones, who surprised me last week, did just enough to win, ran the offense, kind of justified the reasoning of Shanahan wanting to draft him. I see it. I see the vision. He's a guy who listens and can play within the offense, especially play within that offense. Number 14, I got to go with the Seahawks. I think they're going to be the 7th seed, shockingly, in the playoffs. I think they're going to knock out my original pick, which was the Raiders. Next up, I have to go with them just based on their record because 2-0 is still 2-0. As much as I hate to admit it, I have to go with the Cardinals. They've won both their games, even though I don't believe in them offensively or defensively. They're not gonna go away. So I don't know. It kind of is what it is. Next up at number 13, I got to go with the Commanders. They look terrible in their second game, so I cannot give them too much credit. Then number 12, we're gonna go with the Rams, who look like a great offense and a so-so defense. Defense is young, but they're not fully there yet. What are we at? 11 or 10?
I don't know. It's your list.
11, I'm going with the Broncos. 10, I'm going with the Colts. They're gonna have to show me more. I don't believe in Daniel Jones for an entire season, but he's been super accurate on his, medium to short throws. So that allows them to do what they need to do offensively, and the defense is doing just enough. And the guy can move in the pocket. That's 10. 9, I'm going with the Bengals. Still managed to get to 2-0. Their defense is still atrocious. They get some pressure, but not enough.
Yeah, they're dropping next week after that.
They really are. 8, I gotta go with the Cowboys. People may think I'm trolling here, but the fact that they were able to come back and beat the Giants in that game says a lot. Because that was the best game that Russell Wilson has ever played statistically, which is kind of crazy. 7, I have to go with the Raiders. They got a win in the road, and they lost at home to a much better team. So, give credit where credit is due. They are 1-1. I know, yes, I am putting them ahead of teams that are 2-0, but it is what it is. And the Buccaneers, I'm putting them at 6. I just don't believe fully in their defense yet. They have yet to be tested. The best team they've played is the Atlanta Falcons. So 5, I'm going with the Packers. I don't think Jordan Love can not make these mistakes all year, and they've already had an injury receiver, and it's already week 2, so we will see. 4, Chargers. 3, I'm going with Kansas City. 2, Bills. Actually, wait, no. Yeah, scratch Kansas City. Kansas City's on. Number 3 is Bills. Number 2 is Ravens. Number 1 is Eagles. The Eagles had the rematch. They beat them. And they had the division game they had to open up with a NFC Championship preview or review again. And the Eagles gave them the business. So I have no doubt that the Eagles are still the best team. And even though their pass rush may not be as good, they play angry and they're a super physical team, which is hard to contest with, and they're young enough to keep it up all year. And let's go with your top 15 and whatever you got.
Yeah, screw that top 15. I'm going to go first with my top horrible teams, top 10 horrible teams, and then my top 10. My top 10 horrible teams is, for number 32, I got the Browns. No matter what quarterback they put in, they're going to definitely lose. They're going to have the first overall pick this next year if things keep on going.
You think they're the worst team in the league?
Right now. And as behind them is 31 is the Panthers. 30 is the Dolphins. 29, I got the Saints. 28, I got the Giants. 27, I got the Bears. 26, I got the Jets. 25, I got the Titans. 24, I got the Jags. And 23, I got the Patriots. As far as for my top 10, I got the Chiefs coming in at number 10. The reason why I got that, even though they're 0-2, they still had to battle 2 good teams. But still, I'm knocking them out because they still need to get a wide receiver, which they should get back down the later of the year. They still got to show their team can come back and see what happens. As far as number 9, I got the Commanders. Number 8, I got the Buccaneers. Number 7, I got the Lions. That was a great comeback and spanking to beat the shit out of the Bears last week. And I should have picked the damn Lions because the Bears fucking suck ass.
Wow.
Number 6, I got the Rams. Number 5, I got the Chargers. Number 4, I got the Packers. Number 3, I got the Ravens. Number 2, I got the Bills. And number 1, I got the Eagles. Until the championship gets dethroned, they'll still be number 1. All the people in the middle, nobody cares.
So the Eagles are the lineal champs. I like it. Malik, you up next.
Sure, of course. I found it interesting. Well, actually, I wanted to before I wanted to touch on your top 15. You didn't put, and who you didn't put in there. I didn't hear you say the Lions. And again, this is not me as a Lions fan, trying to get on you. But if I'm not mistaken, I heard you put the Lions behind the Bengals.
Correct.
I'd love for you to explain that in more detail.
Yeah, I think the world wants
the Lions lost to Green Bay. The Bengals were 2-0.
Lions lost to a team that you put in the top 4.
Correct.
The Bengals have beaten 2 teams.
No, I think Green Bay is 5 or 6.
Okay, in the top 5. What, did you write your list down? Do you actually have your list written somewhere, or is it just going off the dome?
Off the dome. Off the heat.
Okay.
The sheets.
Okay. So So it sounds like you put no credit into the win that the Lions had last week against your Bears, which tells me what you think about your Bears.
Is there a question in there, or is that a statement? You said
No, that was a statement.
No, Ace, that was a fact.
It tells me a lot about how you feel about your Bears there. And there was another team in there that I thought was very interesting in your top 15.
Oh, I think you got the Chiefs out of the top 15 too.
The Cardinals. No, the Chiefs aren't in there now.
The Chiefs are out of the top 15, but the Seahawks are in the top 15. So
Correct.
Are you going solely off of like record here or
no?
what?
If I was going off of record, then I mean, think about it. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Their offensive line doesn't look good. They're specifically their right tackle has issues, right? Travis Kelce he looks his age. He's playing his age. They don't have the receivers that they need.
So neutral field right now, you're picking the Bengals over the Chiefs, is what you're saying.
Is Joe Burrow playing? Then yes.
Today's Bengals, Ace. Joe Burrow's not playing on today's Bengals. So
Joe Burrow's going for the Chiefs, I believe, too.
You're picking the Browning.
I'm taking the Bengals. Yes. I'm taking the
Chiefs.
Browning Bengals. Yes. No point spread. The Bengals should be able to eke out of that if they're playing in Miami, or let's say they play in Germany at Allianz Field. I'm taking the Broncos. Yeah. Being able to win games and close out games matters, especially when Browning came in through a touchdown. And I think it's the rest of the team, the rest of the offense really elevates more than he's, that great of a backup.
And then just another one you put in the top 15, you put the Cowboys in the top 15, despite the fact that the Cowboys are 1-1, lost to the Eagles, and did not play well, did not play a good game, despite what everybody's saying, did not play a good game defensively against the Giants, who I'm assuming if you did over 32 would be close to the bottom of that list. But they're on your top 15.
Correct. But I think they're 13 or 14.
It doesn't matter. They're in the top half of the league for you. And
which means that they're going to squeak into the playoffs.
And teams like the Chiefs and the Lions, who have been perennial teams at the top of the NFL
for the past 4 years,
are out. Are out of this.
Yes.
This top 15.
Correct. Yes. This is a living list. It's an alive list.
I understand that. I'm just, like I said, I'm just curious as to how this list did not include those teams. But
are you sure it's actually living, Ace?
Yes, it's a very alive list.
I think it's on this last leg. He's trying to get resurrected.
There's a lot more football to be played.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will go ahead with my list. I'm not putting the Bengals at 15, especially with the Browning Bengals. The Jake Browning Bengals will not be at 15 on my list. 15 on my list will be the Atlanta Falcons. Was really surprised, really impressed by the victory that they had last week against the Minnesota team that looked like they were trending in the right direction after that win against the Bears. Number 14 at 2-0, but an unimpressive 2-0. I will put the Arizona Cardinals. I'm giving credit to the fact that they, played a really, really soft schedule playing the Saints, and who was the second team they played? Was the Panthers?
That's
right. They took care of business. They took care of business. You play the teams on your schedule. You learn to close out games, and if you watch those games really closely, even though the scores themselves weren't lopsided, there was never really you never really thought that they were out of it. At number 13, I put the Colts. I actually think the Colts would be a little higher on my list, but right now I have them there. I just, you're waiting. It's one of those waiting for the shoe to fall, the last shoe to fall with respect to this team. But right now they're playing really good ball. They've beaten two good teams or two teams at home so far. So we'll see what happens when they go out on the road. Number 12, I have the Seahawks. The Seahawks right now are 2-0, and they're 1-1. But going on the road against Pittsburgh is a good look for them, and getting that victory, that loss against the 49ers, notwithstanding. And that brings me to number 11, the 49ers. Purdy might be coming back, and so as a result of him coming back early, I think this team gets a bit of a boost. they haven't been impressive in my opinion at 2-0, but they've been good enough to get to that point. At number 10, I have the Chiefs, down pretty considerably. I just don't think they've looked good, even though they've played against two really good teams who are above them. They just haven't looked like they're ready for prime time. Maybe when they get their two receivers back, they'll be better off. At number 9, I have the Commanders. I'm of the thought that they did not look very good against the Giants in that first week, in that week 1 game. I rewatched that game a couple days ago. They did not look great in that game, even though they won that game 21-6. Their defense looked a little bit slow. The Giants looked like they weren't ready for that game. And then they went and got mollywopped by the Packers in the second week. So I have them at 9. I have the Lions at 8. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of respect on the 52-point game against the Bears, and them kind of seemingly righting the ship, at least on that side of the ball, for 1 week.
Question.
We'll see what happens.
Question for that.
Ravens. No. I'm gonna power through, and then you can ask me afterwards. Number 7, I have the Rams. I think the Rams are they're a really solid squad. They haven't been impressive to me, even though they're 2-0. They've been good. They seem to have another level to them. At number 6, the Buccaneers. I think the Bucs have shown, at the very least, to me, they haven't been great. They've been good, and Baker Mayfield's been good in last minute drives. That's basically what it is. At number 5, I have the Chargers. They look like the best team in their division. At number 4, I have the Packers. I think it's a little bit overrated. People putting them at 1 right now. They played 2 home games, granted, against 2 teams that were in the playoffs last year. So we'll see what happens when they actually have to play. I don't expect them to, have any problems against Cleveland this weekend, but they should be, have some games that are coming up, some challenges coming up on the road, and see what happens then. At number 3, I have Baltimore. 2 40-point games. The defense is a bit shaky, but I expect them to do what the Ravens do. At number 2, I have the Eagles. Unimpressive 2-0, but 2-0 nonetheless. And at number 1, I have the team that's playing tonight, the Buffalo Bills, who, bar none, have looked like the best team so far. And even if they get this win tonight, and if it's a close game, they will have, like I said, they look like they've been the best team thus far, and they have the best player, who Josh Allen may very well be the MVP again. So that's my list. Go ahead, Ace. You had a question.
Yeah. Why do you have the Colts so low, but the Buccaneers so high when they seem like a similar team?
They don't seem like a similar team. The Buccaneers, I'm giving the Buccaneers a little bit of credit for the fact that they won their division last year, and that seeing them do this is not a fluke. And they won 2 consecutive games on the road as well. The Colts won their 2 games at home. One was against the Dolphins, who believe the Dolphins are one of the worst teams in the NFL. I can't remember who they played. They played the Titans. Who they play second?
They played the Dolphins and the Titans. Yes.
Yeah. So
the Titans played Denver. I think I forgot who they played. No, Titans. Yeah, they played the Titans. That's correct.
Yeah. So they played the Dolphins. They played the Dolphins and the Titans at home for both of those games. And so I'm gonna reserve my thoughts on them until things. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they played the Colts. They played the Broncos. They played the Broncos at home.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They played the Broncos. I don't have the Broncos on my list, on my top 15. So they played 2 teams that are not in the top 15. The Buccaneers played on the road against Atlanta and Houston, two teams that I believe were going to be in playoff contention. So that's why they're there.
If you think the Bears are so bad, why are you giving Detroit points for beating up on a bad team?
Well, number 1, I didn't say the Bears are so bad. I think you're saying the Bears are bad. I'm saying I'm giving credit.
The Bears were
what I said is I'm giving credit to the 52 points by saying that it looks like they've righted the ship on that side of the ball. But I did reserve the right to say that we'll see what happens when they play against Baltimore on Monday night. So if that offense is where it's supposed to be, I think they'll show up Monday night and score points. Whether they have enough, whether they're able to score enough to beat the Ravens, remains to be seen. but I think that as of right now, they're still a top 10 team. Leevon,
Leevon, you got your list together?
you?
Yeah, while you guys were bantering, I took the time to go back and look at my top 10 and added 5 to it and put it in order. I didn't want to go off the dome because I would have probably forgot something or whatever. But before I start my list, I'm going to go from top to bottom. Not going to go from bottom to top. We're going from top to bottom. But I find it very interesting that a Lion and a Bears fan totally undersell what the Packers are and have done so far this year. The Packers, by far, look like the most complete team in the entire NFL. They beat the Lions team, which should be was the favorite, in my opinion, coming into the season in that division, and they beat them convincingly. And then they beat a Commanders team, which before the season started, everybody was picking to be the one team that might challenge the Eagles or at least come in second. And they handled both of those teams very, very easily. And they have a top 5 defense and a top 5 offense. So I got the Packers at 1, and I don't think there's much dispute to that. I got the Chargers at 2. Based on what they've done this year, even though the Chiefs are not playing impressive football right now, offensively they look a little challenged. They're still the Chiefs. That's a division game. It was the first game of the year, and I give them big props for that. Plus, they're 2-0, and they look like a pretty complete team. I put the Eagles at 3 because even though they've won some games they shouldn't have, if CD catches those passes like he should have, and if Travis Kelce doesn't drop the pass that he drops, they could easily be 0-2. But, a win is a win. So they are where they are, and they are defending champs. And as that team is constructed, with only 2 games into the season, we can only really base these lists at this point off of what these teams have done, what little they've done this year, and how their teams are constructed. And the Eagles still have one of the more complete teams in the league. I put the Bills next on the strength of, like I just said, what they did last year, the little they've done this year, being 2-0. And that Ravens game, even though Ravens lost that game more than the Bills won it, I'm not overly impressed with Buffalo, but I put them at 4. I got the Ravens right behind them at 5. I think the Ravens, if they would have won that game, would have been easily a lot higher. But they seem to play to their competition for the most part, and they still can't seem to win big games. The Bucs I have at 6. They've been close games, but close games against pretty quality teams with expectations coming into this year in the Texans and the Falcons. And Baker's been playing pretty well, and they're well coached. And winning a close game is no small feat. It's hard to do in the league. Then I got the Lions, largely based on what the Lions did last year and the fact that that team as it is extremely talented and what they can do. And, the 52 against the Bears. The Bears are not on my list. They're not in the top 15. If anything, they're in the bottom 10, like Anthony said, like my Giants, like his Jets. So I wouldn't count that as a quality win. But like I said, 2 games into the year, what's a quality win at this point? We don't know what anybody is. Then I have the Rams at 8. No reason to go into depth too much there. Niners at 9 behind the Rams. I have the Colts at 10. And that's probably the most surprising of all of my placements, and I think it's well-deserved. The Colts coming into this year, not much was thought of what they can do, but being that I think they've punted once, if that, and I might be getting that wrong, is a testament. And Indiana Jones is one hell of a handle. So I got the Colts at 10. And then 11 through 15 is basically 1-1 teams. I don't have any 0-2 teams in here, so I do not. And I don't have the Bengals on my list because I don't think they deserve to be in it. And their wins weren't. Even though I think they did beat the Jaguars, which is one of the teams I picked to. Was actually on my list, but I don't have the Bengals on here because I don't respect that team. I don't think they're very good. But I rounded out with 11 being Broncos, 12 Jags, 13 Cards, 14 Commanders, and 15 Falcons. That's my list.
I just want to understand. You think the Cardinals, as constructed currently, are a better football team than Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
So that would mean that the Cardinals are going to be 6th or 7th seed at AFC and NFC, and the Bengals are going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are going to miss. I think the Bengals were lucky to win the
Burrow's
2
gonna be
games
gone
they
for the rest
did.
of the
I
year.
think
Of
with
course they're
Burrow
gonna be.
out as long as he is, I mean,
Be
he's
back in
their whole
December,
team.
they said.
He's their whole team. And I mean, the games that they've won so far, I mean, like I said, this one, the 11 through 15, even at this point, the top 10, it's only 2 games in. We don't know who's really who yet. I don't think you'll know that until week 6, until everybody's played at least 6 games. Then we kind of have an idea. But it's too early. I mean, we do this for fun, for show, just for whatever, but it's way too early. I mean, the Colts are probably the best story in the entire NFL, 2-0. Daniel Jones playing the way he's playing. They got to be the best story in the
They're
league.
only a good story because they have super low expectations.
Exactly.
Everybody thought it was going to be trash.
Exactly. And
So when
they beat the
everybody thinks you're going to be
Broncos.
garbage and you actually win a game, that's kind of shocking.
Yeah,
I
but it's
like the
early. That's what we discussed. That early, we don't know who's who and who's supposed to be good because it's still early. There's nothing to base it on. You can't go off. Every team is different. You know, the tape is just forming. It's only 2 weeks of tape in this year. So the Colts are 2-0. You read the Bengals are 2-0, but look at that 2-0. I mean, look at it. It's not very impressive. Not. You know, saying the only impressive 2-0s that I see, like I said, Packers. Let me look again. I mean, the Packers, Chargers. Who the Chargers beat that second time? Raiders. They play the Raiders?
You don't think the Eagles 2-0 is worth
No.
it? Divisional
Absolutely
game
not.
against the playoff team.
Now,
and
if
then,
Kelsey catches that ball, it's a different game. And if CeeDee Lamb
but
catches...
he didn't catch the ball.
I get that. That's why I said if. But he's a professional. He's a Hall of Famer. And he dropped a pass that was in his hands. Normally he doesn't do that. And if you're winning games that way, yeah, there's some question. It's not like they ran over him and it was, convincing dubs. Those weren't convincing dubs by any strength. You know, just like, are the Ravens that much better than, are the Bills that much better than the Ravens? They're not going to win like that every time. So it's too early to
They beat him in the playoffs like that, and they beat him in the playoffs.
That's why I was like, we based it off last year and the very few games we've seen so far, which is not much to go on. You're not really supposed to count last year, but what else can we do at this point? We're only 2 games in. Look at this game as proof. It's 21-14. Buffalo's supposed to be that much better than Miami. Miami's not on any of our lists in the top 15, and Buffalo is all in our top 5. And this game is 7 points right now. Miami
make all the sports books money.
Yeah, so it's hard to say this early who's who and what's what. Even the Giants. Giants came within 25 seconds of being 1-1, and the Cowboys would be 0-2 right now instead. It's just, you just don't know who's going to be 0-3 and who's going to be 1-2 come Sunday night. We're going to get into that in a minute, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but my list.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. We are going to get into these games. First up, we got the Falcons, Panthers. The Panthers are the home team. They're getting 5.5. Home over under is 43. Who do you got?
Let's see. The Panthers are home. Falcons are definitely quite getting a better team than I usually give them credit for. Panthers are 0-2. Falcons are 1-1. I really think that the Falcons can actually pull this off, so I'm going to go with the Falcons on this one. They're going to make it a lock rate. That's the one I'm going to take. I'm going to take the Falcons. I'm going to take the under.
Who you got?
Still relatively early in the season, so we're seeing good Falcons at this point. They're going to be relatively healthy going into this game. Nobody listed as being out. Just a couple of questionables. So it looks like they'll be pretty good here. They looked good against Minnesota last week. They pretty much dominated that game all the way through. So I'll roll with the Falcons here as well, and I'll give the 5.5. Same as with Ant. I don't like this as a best bet because this is a divisional game and because it can get it can trend towards the points. But I will say that I absolutely like the way that Atlanta is leaning into the strength of their team, which is their running game with Bijan Robinson and Algier. They're definitely handing the ball off to those guys, letting those guys make plays for them, and then giving Penix opportunities to get the ball out to his receivers. And he's got a bunch of talented guys on that squad, so to make plays for him. So I definitely like where Atlanta's going right now. If they keep this up. And I think that they can keep this up against a Panthers team that's still reeling. So I'll take the Falcons and I'll give the points. No lock.
All right. I'm going to be taking the Panthers because they're getting 5.5 at home. They toughed last week against Jacksonville. They're losing by 3, and think they're going to be able to do this. Falcons don't really play that well outside. Panthers are really good playing outside. I think they're going to continue to improve on offense. And the defense has generally bad. I see the ability to improve because they still have one of the best see home. So I lean on them improving each week. Falcons not playing as well as they have. Bijan is a game changer for them, but Drake London is battling injuries early and is going to affect them. So that's why I'm taking Panthers.
I agree with Ace on this one. It's a division game. It's not in the dome. This is a young Falcons team that is still learning how to win, how to put things together. They did have an impressive win last week, but I think going on the road against a team that they're favored to beat be dangerous if they're not fully prepared to do what they should, which is, what's the word? Dominate early. What's that word they say? I'm thinking of exhibit, but anyway, enforce their will. When the team comes in, whether
force their will on the other team.
Yeah, when you're supposed to win or not, it doesn't matter. No letdowns. There's no letdowns involved. Falcons aren't there yet, but they can go on the road against a team they're supposed to beat and just totally dominate and without a doubt just seal it. And to favor a road team and say they're going to win by 6. No, I like the Panthers to keep that close. Not upset, but the points, yeah, and I think it'll be over that 43.5.
All right. Next up, we have one of the best teams in the league against one of the worst teams.
Oh, wait, Ace. We didn't go over last week's record.
I do not have that in front of me, but somebody does.
I do.
Save that for the end and just keep going?
No, you know what? We're going to insert that right here since Ant brought that up. Ant, Malik, go ahead. Let's do a little recap for the people.
So we're recapping last week. I'll give the seasonal stats as well. Recapping last week. That week for me, I finished 4-11 last week. Week 2, Ace and Ant both finished 7-8, and Leevon closed out on a great week, 10-5. In terms of the locks, and Leevon both went 3-2 in their locks, while Ace and myself went 2-3. On the season so far, Ace is 12-19. Ant is 16-14. I'm 13-17. And Leevon is 18-13. So, we're all trending anywhere between 40 to 60%, which is typical for us. We'll see how we go for this. We'll see how we go for going on into the season. But that's where we are. That's where we were last week, and that's where we are going into this week.
Leevon's in first place. Luck, I guess.
Rookie.
He's not a rookie. He's been doing this for a couple of times with us.
This is his first time he's doing a full season. True.
That is true.
Browns are getting 7.5 points at home. Defense is tremendous. The offense is atrocious. Joe Flacco is still back there, unmovable. As a statue he is. Who do you get?
I'm definitely going to take the Packers. They got a better defense. They got with Michael Parsons. They're going to be smacking the crap out of Joe Cool. But the thing is that also I was listening to this clip where one of these Brown guys was basically calling out the whole team, even though he was trying to plug in one of the young rookies. But I kept on saying to myself, they got backup left tackle, backup right tackles, and their offensive line is basically shambles. So I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to just take I'm still going to take the under in this one. I think they're just going to beat them down, and it's going to be so bad that fans play in Brown Stadium since they're at home. They're going to be leaving early. It's going to be my first lock of the week.
Okay. The over-under is 41.5.
My fault. Over. Sorry about that.
41.5. Oh, okay. Wow. Malik, who do you get?
First road game for the Packers. They were fortunate enough to start the season with 2 home games, which is always great if you can get that. The schedule to lean in your favor there.
Where is this Packer hate going to stop?
I hate the Packers. That's consistent, but that's got nothing to do with it. I'm just saying it's their first.
2 home games.
I'm saying I'm saying they were fortunate to get. I would say this about any team. They were fortunate to get. I said this about the Colts too. They're fortunate to get their first 2 games at home. This is their first road test, first opportunity to play on the road. I, wish they were playing against a better opponent so we could, get really get tested. But they're not. They're not going to get tested in this game. This is a 7.5 point. Oh, I mean, yeah. I wish they were playing. If they were playing us in Detroit,
gotcha.
it would be a different. I think obviously the spread would be a little bit different, but it is what it is. The Packers should win this game relatively easily. Anthony made a good point about just the pass rush of the Packers. The Packers have a really good pass rush, and Joe Flacco has not been very good against pressure so far this season, and that's not going to bode well for him from that perspective. The running game for Cleveland, Quinshon Judkins is now listed as their RB1. He's going to get the lion's share of the carries there. I don't think it matters all that much because the Packers up front have seemingly done very well against the rush, which was a weakness for them for that defense previously. And so all of the questions about their corners are being answered by the fact that they are stopping the run and they're rushing the passer to the point that those corners are not being put out on the island for very long, and they're able to make plays. So Jordan Love has looked really, really good. The offense as a whole has looked good, and the Packers avoided a serious injury with their tight end Tucker Kraft, who has been probably their best. He's been their best safety valve over the course of these last 2 games. I mean, the amount of times I've seen him get open and get like plays up the seam has been, pretty impressive so far this season, more than I've seen him do, in previous years. So I like the Packers. I'll give the 7.5, not locking it, because obviously a backdoor cover can happen at any point, but feel pretty comfortable with the idea that, Flacco and the Browns will get down, by 7 and by 10 points and just not be able to make that comeback happen. So I'll take the Packers. I'll give the 7.5. I'll go with the over, but I'm not locking this one in either.
If the Browns cover this game, it has to be under. I think they're doing that because these are 2 very good defensive teams, and I'm basically the Browns on the strength of their defense, and that because we have that hook. So if this was 7, I would bet it. If it was 7.5, I'm taking the Browns. I think this is probably going to get bet up to 9, but it's early in the week. It's Thursday. Well, not early in the week, but before Sunday when this game's going to be played, I'm going to take the Browns to cover here. But I'm only getting it at 7.5, so I'm going to take the 7.5. Take the on the defense and the ability of Myles Garrett to just destroy this game and, pressure Jordan Love and have him make a bunch of mistakes. And so the Packers get an ugly win.
No, I'm curious. Well, I'll let Leevon make his pick, and then I'll have a question for you guys.
Malik, Leevon, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't agree with you there, Ace. I think the Packers cover here. I think they cruise in this game. I think because defensively, they're going to overwhelm Cleveland. Flacco is a statue back there. They were able to contain Jaden Daniels. So Flacco not being able to move and trying to avoid Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons is going to be a task. And the only thing that gives me some pause is that a lot of their assets on offense, Jacobs is on the injured list, Watson and Reed are both out, Tucker's on the injured list. They're questionable. They should play, but it's still questionable. But the Packers are just a better team. I don't care. If it was in Green Bay, then, I would still lock this one in. But I think the Packers rolling this. Packers points and they're over. Locking it.
Malik, what was your question?
Yeah, I'm saying if this was in Green Bay, it'd be Packers by 12.5. Easily. Yeah. No, Ace, you talked about the Browns having a very good defense. They were smoked last week by the Ravens. Are you downgrading? Sure are you putting still respecting the Browns defense to that degree, or are you saying that the Packers offense is nowhere near as solid as that Ravens offense that you saw? Okay.
They have a better quarterback and they have a better running back. The Packers have better receivers, but you cannot sit there and pretend like Derrick Henry didn't beat the hell out of that team. It's like you're not gonna.
No, noted. I mean, actually, Derrick Henry didn't even have a great game against the Browns last week.
know.
It was mostly Lamar in the passing game. So no, I was just curious because you kept pointing out how good the Browns defense was, and they gave up 40 points against Ravens.
I know.
All right, go ahead.
They were playing in Baltimore, correct?
Yes, that game was in Baltimore. Yeah.
Nobody likes to get embarrassed, but they're doing their best. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're doing their best. I still believe that
they're doing good talking. I'll put it that way.
As good as Micah Parsons is, he's not the best pass rusher. That still is mindset. He is that dude. Like, as much as we want to, I do genuinely believe, like, if you told me I could have any pass rusher, I'm taking Myles Garrett. I'm going to take him. It's more money, but like, I don't think he's a better player. I really don't. I know that sounds crazy, but like, I just don't. Not by much, but enough. Jaguars at Texas. One is tough for me, but I know who I'm going to pick. The Texans are at home, and they are 1.5 point home dogs. The over-under is 44.5.
The Jags are at home.
The Jags are at home? Are you sure?
Jacksonville.
Texans at Jacksonville.
The Jacksonville.
Texans are 1.5 point underdogs. And what do you got?
Even though I'm quite you make fun of Perk Plus and or AK Trevor Lawrence and the rest of his crew, I think they can actually maybe pull this off and make this a win. Houston is a little shaky in my opinion, so I'm going to go with Jacksonville on this one. I'm going to take the under. That's it for me.
All right. Okay. Wait. Malik, who do you got?
The Texans are 0-2. They looked bad, but they looked bad against teams that I think are pretty much better than them. They played the Rams and then they played the Buccaneers. Both teams, I think, both NFC teams, both teams, I think, are just overall better than them. But this is where I think that they right the ship and get back to winning within their division, which is what they seem to be, pretty good at doing. Did not like what I saw from the Jaguars last week. I watched that game. I watched the replay of that game that they had against the Bengals, and they weren't able to beat a team without Joe Burrow. Jake Browning went out there and cooked them. He cooked that defense and, just came in off the bench. And, he had 3 interceptions. But he threw for a couple of touchdowns, threw for over 240 yards and pretty much, tore him up. So I don't, believe much in this Jaguars, defense, and offensively. I think they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do or what they can do with Travis Hunter, at this point. And Thomas has just, he's been a shell of himself. So I think that, eventually they can get things rolling. But this is to me, this is a good bounce back game for the Texans, even though they're on the road. I'll take them, and I'll take them especially because I'm getting points on this one. So I'm going to take the Texans in the under.
All right. My first lock of the week. Texans can't protect their quarterback. They have the worst offensive line. And the only reason why I am locking this in with Jacksonville against them. Jacksonville's defense isn't great. They're pretty good at pass rushing, and going to make it very difficult for C.J. Stroud to actually get a pass off. Their defense is excellent. It feels like they're basic. They invest much on the offensive line, and they are terrible. They're terrible in the middle, terrible on the sides. They're just terrible. So that is the only reason why I'm going so hard for Jacksonville. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I'm going to take win this game 12-9, but they're going to win this game. If I ever pick, I would take a chance to take Jacksonville. Who do you get?
Question first from Malik before I go. He took the Texans. Are you saying that you think the Texans are going to win this game?
The Texans will win this game, and I think even if they don't win this game, I think they'll cover.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was like. Which one is it? You saying the Texans cover or they win the game?
If they win the game, they cover. But I'm picking the Texans regardless. I'm picking them to either win the game outright or to cover.
So let me just make sure I understand. So for the Texans to cover, if they lose by 2, they cover.
Lose by 2, they don't cover. By 1, they cover.
It's 1.5. I want that to explain to me so I know.
So give So whatever the half is, you give a half a point. So that's why they call it a hook, because if you pick the Jaguars and they win by 1, that half point gives the Texans the win.
That's what I'm saying. So if Jacksonville wins 2019, are you picking that, or are you picking the Texans to upset, or is there a difference?
There's no in terms of betting. There's no difference. In terms of betting, I'm picking the Jaguars to do one or the other.
So you're picking the Texans to win or to lose by less than, more than. Well, I get it. I did.
Less than 2.
Got it. I thought when you pick an upset, you pick a straight upset, and then there was the option of that. Like, okay, got it. All right, I got my pick.
Yeah.
I agree with Malik. What I have been doing, and try to explain myself. I don't gamble. I know much about gambling, so anybody listening to this, don't laugh too hard at me. But I thought it was 3 options to it. You pick the team that's favored to win by the favored amount, or the team that's not favored to lose by the favored amount, and then the third option was just the straight upset. So I thought that was a thing. Like, it wasn't a combined, like, if the team loses by the cover amount and they upset, then it's the same. I thought it was 3 different things. With that being said, hard game to call because it's one of those games where it's too close to really call. Both teams are equally disappointing. Both teams are equally unproven, young, with talent, but it's like I said many times, they got a lot of guys, but not enough dudes. So that being said, I take an 0-2 Texans team on ropes, division rival, in a must-win situation. Can't go 0-3. 0-3, season is pretty much cooked. All good vibes. Head coach, who was young and promising, quarterback, all of that. I'm pretty sure in Houston they're already running with the narrative that this team, might have been a fraud 2 years ago, and who knows, they might be looking at a reset. So with that being said, backs against the wall, I think the Texans upset the Jags and win this game. And that's my pick.
So, Leevon, probably the easiest way, before you go there, but probably the easiest way to look at it is whoever the team is that's the underdog, so whoever the team is that's getting points.
Yeah.
If you think about it from the standpoint of, like, at kickoff, if you're better, at kickoff, you add, instead of 0-0, you add the number of points. It would be the Texans have 1.5, the Jaguars have 0.
Got it.
And so, like, they're playing catch up to try to catch to that.
Because, like, with the Panthers-Falcons game, I got the Panthers to do that. They'll lose whatever I can't see the number, but they'll lose that. Wait, no.
But they'll lose by less than 6, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, and
again, the Panthers will lose by less than 6, but they will still lose the game.
Right.
Versus me picking them to just straight win because I think they'll upset. But in this, I think the Texans just straight upset. They're gonna win this game.
Got it.
Yeah.
You understand it?
I get it now. I don't gamble, and I'm getting it. It's not my bag, but I'm picking it up. I get that. I got the whole spread thing, but I thought it was different. Like, you can pick the predicted losing team lose by the point.
Bengals at the Vikings. Bengals are the underdogs here. The Vikings are favored by 3. Over under is 42.5. Both these teams will be starting their backup quarterbacks. For the Vikings, it'll be... Who's it going to be for the Vikings? I don't think I know.
Carson Wentz.
Vikings. It's Carson Wentz. That's right. The big redhead.
Carson Wentz.
I don't know if he's redhead. I always get him mixed up with somebody else. But anyway, Carson Wentz will be the starting quarterback for the Vikings, and the Bengals will be starting the aforementioned Jake Browning. After both of these quarterbacks, their starters went down with injuries in their respective Week 2 games. Again, the Vikings are favored by 3, so Leevon will start this with you. Bengals at Vikings. Who you got?
Yeah, it's another tough one to call. Both teams equally disappointing. The Bears. Minnesota won that first game against the Bears. They turned it on in the second half and pulled away pretty convincingly. But in the very next game, they didn't look so hot. And the Bengals haven't looked very hot all year, and that was with Joe Burrow. And now Joe's out, and they're Browning in there. So, you count home field for Minnesota. You put that in the equation. I checked to see if there were any other major injuries, and I couldn't find any. To me, this could go either way, and the line reads that. When you got 3 points, basically saying it could go either way. So with that in mind, I know I've the Bengals so far. I think they win this game. And they pull off the upset, and full upset. And I think they go to 3-0. I think they rally around the fact that Joe Burrow is not there, and they put together a tight game plan. And, they got some playmakers on the other side. And Carson Wentz, I don't know. But this is a toss-up game. So I'm going with the 2-0 team. I'm going with the 2-0 team on this one. And rally around the fact that Burrow's gone. And the battle of the LSU receivers with the backup QBs, I think Jamar Chase will probably catch 12 passes for 200 yards and 2 tutties.
All right, I'll go next. No lock here for me, but I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm going to bet on the better coach. I believe that Kevin O'Connell has shown multiple times that give him pretty much anybody in terms of a signal caller, and he can game plan in a way that will bring the best out of that potential individual. We saw it with Sam Darnold last year. We started to see some glimpses of it with J.J. McCarthy, and I think we'll see it with Carson Wentz, at least for a game or two. I believe that, with the, unlike the Bengals, I think the Vikings have enough to withstand the loss of their quarterback, because not everything is predicated off of that offense and off of their quarterback. So I think the Bengals are in much more dire straits without Joe Burrow than the Vikings are without J.J. McCarthy. So I'll lean there. I'll also lean with the points. I'm sorry, lean on field advantage and give those 3 points. I do believe it could be a close game. I would take the under in this.
Yeah, I'm taking it too.
Don't know. Yeah, I just don't know what these offenses are going to be without their respective QBs. The Vikings also, just to be clear, the Vikings also lost their starting running back, Aaron Jones Sr., which may or may not mean much, because Jordan Mason has looked good in his in the 2 games that he's played so far. So just want to take that into consideration. But I'll take the Vikings. Again, no lock here. But I'll take the Vikings in the under to cover at home. And over to you.
The game of between the 2 backups. They haven't played each other, so you can throw everything out the window about Minnesota and the Bengals as far as their wins and all this other stats and stuff like that, because that deals with their actual quarterbacks. Minnesota is at home, and I'm going to go with them on this one. I'm taking Minnesota and the under. Minnesota is definitely good at, you said it earlier, with their coach. They got a better coach. They can plug in almost any quarterback. JJ, you had Sam Darnold last year. You had Kirk Cousins before. But you can even go back before this coach with Minnesota. Minnesota seems like a quarterback haven. You plugged in Brett Favre in there and all these other type of things. This team is always built to support the quarterback. They know how to draft their running backs. If they don't draft them, they can go ahead and take them. You just mentioned with Mason. And they know how to get their receivers. So I'm going to go with them. And I remember, as far as the history of how those did before Joe Burrow and stuff like that, they was called the bungees and stuff like that for a reason. So I'm going to go with the Vikings, and I'm going to take the under this one. And this is going to be my second lock for the week.
Ace, hopefully you got your audio situation taken care of.
You don't hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, better.
All right. I guess that mic is broken. It's done though. Yeah, I'm going with the Bengals. Jake Browning has had as many 300-yard passing games as Patrick Mahomes has had since 2023 season, which is 3. And they have the better wide receivers, and they have a healthy running back in Chase Brown. They have a pretty good pass rusher, and the teams are playing their backup quarterback, who I think is much worse than Jake Browning. Carson Wentz got ran out of 2 teams, and he is no longer a starting quarterback, or believed to be a starting quarterback in this league. Mobile, and they are still missing Christian Darrisaw, so if I'm not mistaken, he plays left tackle for the Vikings, which is why J.J. McCarthy got hurt. So I'm going to be taking Cincinnati Bengals to go in. I'm going to take them to cover that spread. Not super confident about this, but still betting on that more than anything. Go ahead, Lauren.
I win already.
Just want to note for you, Asa, you mentioned it, but Darrisaw is back to practicing and looks like he will be playing this week. He's not listed on the injury report, so just a note.
Hopefully he can hold up against Trey Hendrickson all game.
Ace, you want me to continue, or you want to take it back?
Nah, keep it going.
All right, cool. Next up, we have the Steelers at the Patriots. The Steelers are the favorites here on the road. Spread is 1.5 points, and the over/under is 44.5. Pittsburgh goes back east to play another AFC East team, just like they did in week 1 when they played against the Jets. But they coming off of their home loss against the Seattle Seahawks in pretty much dominant fashion. They were pretty much dominated by the Seahawks and made probably one of the worst plays in the history of the NFL, giving up that kick return touchdown, which was absolutely atrocious. Anyhow, looks like it's like they're going to try to get things right, and the Patriots are riding high. After they came back and was able to win against the Dolphins team on the road, where they were in a place where they hadn't won very much previously, and they came back and did their thing against them, and so now they come back home. Should be feeling pretty good about themselves, and I think that reflects on this line. The Steelers are the older team. The Steelers are still relatively healthy coming into this situation, but it's a young and hot. So let's see what happens. So 1.5 points is the line here. Again, 44.5 is the over under. Ant, I'll start with you here. Steelers 1.5 point favorites at the Patriots. What are you thinking?
Well, I think the only reason it's 1.5 because these two teams are basically even right now, in my opinion. I think this is going to be a clash of the old guard type of mentality. Tomlin, Rodgers versus Vrabel on this one. So I'm actually going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to bounce back on this one. Last week's embarrassment, in my opinion, was embarrassment after they was quite being the extra after they beat up the Jets. I'm going to leave it like that. But I'm going to go with Steelers on this one. I'm going to take the under this one.
Ace.
Yeah, I don't think very much of the Patriots offense. I do think they found their starting running back in the rookie. Ramondre Stevenson isn't going to be getting that many carries, so that's good. They're not a complete team, but neither are the Steelers. Their defense has looked atrocious 2 games, so it's kind of wild as they are. And I think age is just a factor, but I think they're going to tighten up. They have allowed 200-yard rushers through the first 2 games of the NFL season, which is kind of nuts. I don't think they've done that in a very, very long time. But I'm still going to take the Steelers because I think Aaron Rodgers can do enough, and they have the better running back, and I think the better offensive line and the best receivers, or at least group of receivers in this league, in this matchup. So I'm going to lock in the Steelers for this one against the Pats. Second lock of the week.
All right. I'll take the Patriots. I like what I saw against them. Drake May has been playing much better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers has through the first 2 weeks, even though Aaron Rodgers had that 4-touchdown game in week 1. And I like what I've seen from the Patriots. I actually don't like what I've seen from the Steelers from a running perspective. I don't think that they haven't run the ball very well. They're still floating between 3 different running backs: Jaylen Warren, who's named Caleb Johnson, and then Kenneth Gainwell. And neither one of them have looked overly impressive over the course of the season thus far. And DK Metcalf has pretty much been DK Metcalf. He had a really good game against the Jets in week 1, and then we barely saw him in week 2 against the Seahawks, and that's pretty much what you get with him. It's feast or famine with him from time to time. So I like what the Patriots have done. I think Vrabel's got this team playing at a high level, or at the highest level they can possibly play, and he's going to get the most out of them, and especially being at home and getting points. I like the 1.5 here. The money, the betting odds are currently leaning towards New England, and I like that as well. So give me New England, give me the points. No lock here, but I'll take the under 44.5. Leevon, over to you.
This perplexes me. I think Pittsburgh is by far a way better team than the Patriots, and I don't understand why this is even as close as it is. 1.5? Nah, I think Pittsburgh runs away with this. I don't see Tomlin and Rodgers and Watt losing 2 games in a row, especially to a Patriots team that I fully expect to bring up the rear in that division. I saw Gonzalez was on the injury report. I don't think DK will have back-to-back bad games. I think, like I said, early in the season, if there's such thing as a must-win, I don't know who Pittsburgh plays next. But to let the Patriots get away would be criminal. And this is too good of a team through our life of growing up with a quarterback who's a savvy vet. I just think I think they win this game. I don't even think it's nearly as close as this line is making it out to be. So I put that with, let me see, one of my locks of the week. And and under that 44.5. I don't think anybody scores more than 24 points in this one.
Gonzalez is listed as questionable, so he may play. He has missed the first 2 games of the season, but he might play this week.
Gonzalez questionable. Yeah, I just think it's a low scoring game, but at the same time, if I had to trust the defense, I'm going to trust Pittsburgh's defense more than I trust the Patriots. And Drake May has been playing well so far. I think he's thrown 3 touchdowns, a little over 500 yards so far.
Well, all right. Rams at the Eagles playoff rematch from last season. If you guys remember, this was the snow game where the Rams pretty much played the Eagles, pretty well. Gave them everything that they could handle, and probably played them the best of any team that played them over the course of the playoffs, including the Super Bowl. So it's Stafford and the Rams coming back to Philly for a rematch of this game. The Rams are 2-0. The Eagles are 2-0. So both these teams are looking to remain undefeated on the season. The Rams have a few more weapons. Obviously, Devontae Adams is back. Cooper Kupp is there. I'm sorry, Cooper Kupp is gone, and Matt Stafford appears to be healthy by all accounts, despite all the conversation in the preseason about his back. The Eagles are favored here by 3.5. And the over-under in this game is 44.5. Leevon, I'm going to start here with you again. Eagles hosting the Rams, 3.5-point favorites. Who do you got?
Have they played one game on the road yet?
Went to Kansas City last week.
Okay. I think the Rams do what the Ravens couldn't. I think the Rams go into Philadelphia and they do what they wish they could have did last year. I like matchups. I think Stafford throwing to Puka is on the injury report. What is he listed as?
Puka right now.
Not on it. No, I thought he was. He's not on it.
Not on the report, yeah.
So they're healthy. They're going into Philly. And like I said, Philly has been underwhelming in these first couple of games. Saquon has yet to run for over 100 yards in either game. Did like 61 against Dallas and 88 against Kansas City. Defense hasn't as dominant or as unbeatable as it looked last year, but it's only 2 games. And like I said, they could have easily been had in both of those games if certain plays were made. And that accounts for something. It does. But I think the Rams go in with something to prove. They got the tools to do it. This is a pretty proven team with some veterans who are established in this league. And it could go that way. So I like the Rams in this. Did you say Cooper Kupp?
Playing. I said he's not there. He's no longer there.
Cooper Kupp is
okay.
with
Yeah, I was like, what are we talking about Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp where is he now?
Seattle.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, wait a minute.
I was saying they had Devontae Adams. And
Devontae, yes.
Gone.
Yeah. So, I like the Rams to straight upset in this game and give Philly a well-deserved first loss of the season. And for the points, what? They deserve a loss.
No. I'm laughing because of the hate that I seem to have. We seem to have for the Packers. Seems to be
their flowers all year. But I'm saying what anyone else has said. A bunch of CeeDee Lamb drops and Kelsey dropped at the 1 that was picked off. Come on, those are some pretty nice gifts for the defending champs. But it is what it is. But yeah, and I like the over. I think a bunch of points are going to be scored in this game. They're gonna go over that 44.5.
You as well here, Leevon. I'll be relatively quick. I have the Rams in the over, and I'm locking this in as my first lock of the week. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the NFL, the only starting quarterback in the NFL that hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet. I do think that trend actually goes away. But what it kind of speaks to is that they've become almost dimensional in the way that they push out their offense now. And I don't necessarily know when that's going to change because they're winning with it, right? So, they're probably going to do a lot of the same things that they've done previously. They'll probably try to, hand the ball off to Saquon and see if they can dominate, the line of scrimmage, and then, try to keep things relatively close, keep things relatively short, short yardage and all that stuff, and run the run their offense, through the ground game. Another stat that I thought was really interesting is they've had more tushes this season than pass attempts over 10 yards. That's about how this team is running their offense right now. And defensively, Leevon, I think you're right. The defense has not been, but it's not been the dominant group that we saw last season. So I like the Rams. I like Stafford and that bunch to come in, and they're getting points. So I'm going to take the points and I'm going to lock this in. I think this is a really good game, a really close game. And if the Rams don't win outright, I think they'll lose by less than a field goal. So I'll take the Rams, I'll take the over, and I'm going to lock this in as well. And over.
To mention one player that I believe he retired last year, Aaron Donald, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. And when was the last time the Eagles played the Rams?
Last winter.
year in the NFC.
During the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second round.
And they still got past them, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the game. The guy's missing right there. That's the main key that was making the Rams, I believe, a little bit more dominant, in my opinion. Yeah. They could still run it. They're gonna run that tush push to death. There's a reason why for the last 2 off seasons that these owners was having that tush push part of the owners meeting until he's actually beaten or whatever, until they actually stop it, make it look bad. I'll go with the Eagles on this one. Normally, I would have been going the opposite way because, that tush push to me is garbage, and really the Rams actually had the firepower to beat them and stuff like that. But for some reason, I think as long as this formula has been working with them, and I can see them keep on going with this. It's a toss-up in my opinion. You can pick either way on this one. I can just mention any BS just to quite justify my situation. I mean, what I pick, whatever. But I'm just gonna go the opposite of y'all two just for the show, whatever. So I'm gonna pick the Eagles. That's the only reason I'm picking this one, and I'm gonna go with the under.
I'm going with the Eagles and the under. I think they're going to be able to slow down the defense of the Rams, and I think they're going to control the clock by running the ball. I don't think the Rams are very good against the run, and they haven't played a team with a good running back, not one nearly as good as Saquon. And I think they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage because that's what the Eagles are intent on doing every single game. That's why they run so many short yardage plays with that QB sneak, aka tush push. So unless they get called a bunch of times for lining up in the neutral zone, which they should have last week, I believe they're going to carry through again. So I'm taking the Birds at home.
All right. Next up, we have Anthony's New York Jets going to Tampa Bay to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their former head coach. Now, this is 0-2 Jets going to the 2-0 Bucks. The Bucks have won 2 consecutive games, both on the road, so this is their home opener. And the Jets, after looking really good in a very close loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1, looked not so great against the Bills at home in Week 2. So this is their first road game of the season. So right now we're looking at Buccaneers with a 6.5 point favorites at home against the Jets. And the over-under on this is 43.5 since this is Ant's team. Ant, we will kick it off with you. What are you thinking about your Jets going to Tampa Bay to play against the Bucks?
Well, this is going to be the first game I believe they faced against Todd Bowles. So this is going to be a Todd Bowles revenge game. This is also going to be a Hassan Reddick revenge game. So I think the Jets is going back and forth. They might actually even out a little, right now, even though we're not going to have our quarterback. We have our little backup quarterback going on this one. So I think we actually maybe could pull it off, but that's just the fan in me and stuff like that going on with this. So as far as for the show, I'm going to go with logic, and I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win this one, unfortunately. And I'm going to take the Buccaneers, and I'm going to take the under in this one. And I'm going to make this my third lock of the week.
Not to mention that Justin Fields is out. He's in the concussion protocols. So the Jets will be going to Tyrod Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right, that's Tyrod Taylor is going to be the quarterback. That's on one reason for a little bit of hope, whatever. Unlike Justin Fields, he's seen it all and stuff like that. He might can actually operate this offense a little bit better. He's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league.
Hey, you Bucks minus 6.5 versus the Jets. What do you got?
The Bucks have won both of their games by a combined 4 points through 2 games. 3 because Younghoe Koo missed a field goal, and then by 1 point over Houston on that fourth quarter drive with like a minute and a half left. I don't believe they're going to have enough to do that against the Jets. I think Quinton Williams is going to step up in the middle of the field. The Jets have a tough time running the ball, so I think the under is the safest bet. But I think 6.5 is too many points, and I think Tyrod Taylor could operate this offense just as good as Justin Fields can in terms of throwing the ball. Not in terms of running, but in terms of throwing the ball. He's as good of a thrower of the ball as Fields is. So I think the Jets are going to keep this close, and I think the Jets are going to lose by a field goal because they're going to need another miraculous play out of Baker, and he's going to get it done. They're going to get down in the field goal range and kick the winning field goal. So give me the Jets to cover but lose here. They're going to lose by 3. Yeah.
All right, Leevon.
Both Ant and Ace on this. I think the Bucs have played nothing but close games so far. I think that continues. Tyrod Taylor is going to operate this offense better than, well, not this offense, because I'm pretty sure they tailor the offense to what Justin Fields can do with his legs, and Tyrod can't do that. But he's a better passer of the football. He is one of the better backups in the National Football League. So throwing the football, utilizing those assets on offense like Wilson, Breece Hall out of the backfield. I think the Jets might make this a game. And I'm close, but I ultimately think that being on the road and being that the Bucs are one of those veteran teams that know how to close, and they've proven that twice now. Rookie Kid is on the injured report, which is important because he's been big with them so far this year. If I'm not mistaken, I saw him on there. But anyway, I think, I don't know how much they'll lose by, but it will be less than 7. So I'll take the Jets and those points. And what did I put? Over or under for that? This is one of my locks, and I got the over.
Leevon locked me in the Jets. This is like the toughest. This is one of the toughest games for me, honestly. I think it's interesting. So, a big injury to note is, the Buccaneers lost Kalijah Kancey, their defensive tackle, who's really good against the run, for the remainder of the season with the torn pec. I think that bodes well for the Jets to be able to keep this game relatively close. And we know the type of defense that the Jets are going to want to play, with Aaron Glenn and his, aggressive style of defense. I think this game, I think the under, I think Ace, you're right. I think the under is the safest play here, just because of the way both of these coaches like to get after the quarterback. And because, honestly, with Bucs, the best way to get them, to get them off pace is to, heat up Baker Mayfield a little bit and make him throw when he doesn't want to, or make him throw early when he doesn't want to. If he sits back in the pocket, he'll just tear you apart. So, I think that the game, it plays relatively close. I'm going to go Ant here. I'm going to take the Bucs to win by 7. I think a 7-point win, 24-17, is probably the most likely outcome. Not locking this in, but I do think that the Bucs can cover the number and win by a score against a Jets team that I think will keep it relatively close all the way through, but will eventually drop and lose by a score, 7 to 8 points. So I'll take the Bucs, not locking this in, because I do agree with both of you that these games, the Bucs can play close games, and they seem to like it that way. But I think that they'll cover the number, at least this time, especially with their first home game of the season. All right, surprising top 15, or at least on some of our books, 2-0 Colts are going on the road for the first time in the season to play against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 0-2. And rookie Cameron Ward has been up and down, as we expect from most rookies, while the veteran, Daniel Indiana Jones, has been lighting it up and running one of the best offenses in the NFL so far to this point this season. Leevon mentioned it a little bit during his breakdown, but I just want to clarify, Daniel Jones hasn't thrown an interception. This team actually hasn't punted yet this season yet. So they haven't, it's not that they haven't punted once, they haven't punted at all. So far this season, in the first 2 games, their offense is dynamic. And so going into this, the Colts are 4.5-point favorites on the road in Tennessee against the Titans. Titans coming with a 33-19 loss against the Rams last week at home. Ace, we'll start this with you. The Colts, minus 4.5 at the Titans. What are you thinking?
I know they're going on the road. I know they're playing outside on turf. Going down to Nashville and getting a win isn't always easy, but they're just a better team, and they have a much better running back. They got Jonathan Taylor going in the last game, and I think they're going to continue with that. And Daniel Jones just has to not make a mistake, and I think he's consistently learned how to not fumble the ball anymore. That was a big issue when he was with the Giants. And whenever he's had a good running back, he's always had a good season. So he has a really good running back, and I think he's going to continue to have a good season. Giving him enough time to get off those short to intermediate throws. And Tennessee bad. Like, as much as we want to crap on Cleveland, Tennessee looks like the worst team. They don't look like they can win a game. They don't consistently play 4 quarters better than any other team. So the Colts are going to win by a touchdown. I'm going to lock in the Colts for my third lock of the week.
Really quick here, the Titans just don't seem to have enough to hang with the Colts. And the Colts are playing hot right now. So I'm going to take the Colts here as well. I'll give the 4.5, not locking it in, but I definitely feel like the Colts should be able to take care of business against their division rivals here. And
I just gotta plug this in as well. Daniel Jones actually did something that Caleb Williams hasn't done. You know what?
I have no idea.
He actually followed through in what Caleb promised his punter when he got drafted. That he would not have to punt a lot. I just gotta throw that in there.
All right.
He actually followed through on the promise that Caleb Williams should have did. But anyway, I'm gonna just make it quick. I'm gonna take the Colts on this one. The Titans are basically rebuilding for right now, so I'm just gonna go with the Colts on this one. This is gonna be a little easy win for them, and I'm gonna go with the under in this one. As not talk about it, we might be. Who knows? We might actually all be wrong, and the Titans actually might win. With their rookie quarterback. You never know. But anyway, I'm gonna take the Colts. I'm gonna take the under.
It's a lot so far from what I've seen, which is not a lot. I haven't seen any of their games via replay, anything like that. Mostly highlights and stuff. But I'm really impressed with what they're doing. Not just Jones, but I before the season started, I said I liked his chances with that running game, Taylor, and those receivers, and Pittman and Pierce. And he's taking advantage. And then the tight end they got, the rookie tight end. That team, sneaky good on that side of the ball. Defensively, I know next to nothing about them except for the Franklin kid. But on offense, tight end, his stats for a rookie, pretty nice so far. I already said I like what they got outside, and they got one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, what more can you really ask for on offense? Everybody just assumed that Indiana couldn't play, and now he can play. Or so we think after 2 games. Tennessee's bad. Tennessee, a couple of top 3 picks away from being relevant, and it's so far. And I don't think they have much. This is one of the games they could steal if there was a stealable game. The Colts flying high, still a young team, could be a letdown, much like the Falcons. Do we know if they have the savvy to go in and impose, that's the word I was looking for, impose their will on this tight team on the road? I do not know. It's like that Falcons-Panthers game. Going on the road, hostile territory, in the division, can you impose your will on a team you should beat and do that? That's the only reason this is close and they could possibly lose. Otherwise, they should roll. Said all that to agree with everybody, and I got the Colts. And let me see, did I say on the over or the under on that? I got the under. Put the Colts in under.
Yeah, that's the reason. And to your point, Leevon, that's the reason why I'm not locking in, because I don't know if I believe in the Colts yet. To go on the road and go get that done. All right, Raiders at the Commanders. Vegas, both teams are 1-1. Vegas goes back on the road, back east to play against the Commanders team that got beat pretty handily on Thursday Night Football last week against the Packers in Green Bay. Looks like Commanders avoided any major issues from a rushing perspective. From a quarterback perspective, even though Jaden Daniels is listed as questionable, he is likely to play. And the Raiders did not look great in their game last week against the Chargers on Monday Night Football, which I don't know if any of us got a chance to watch because that game was so late at night. But the outcome of that game really just the note that the Chargers, took it to the Raiders offense. Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions. Ashton Jeanty failed to get 50 yards rushing, and the offense just sputtered mightily and didn't do very much at all. So the 3.5-point favorites in this game, and the over-under is 44.5. Ace, I'm going to start with you here. Who are you picking? Raiders at the Commanders plus 4.5.
Real quick on this one, I'm locking in the Commanders at home. Commanders were minus 3.5, it says.
Sorry, minus 3.5. I apologize.
Either way, 3.5, 4.5, they're going to beat them by a touchdown. Geno Smith looked terrible. The pass rush looked neutralized against that offensive line. And the Commanders, I don't know if they have as good offensive line as the Chargers do, but they have a more mobile quarterback. And Jalen Daniels is dealing with an injury, I believe. He's going to play, but he's a little banged up. But I think they have much better wide receivers than, and the pass defense isn't great, but it's good enough. So I'm locking in the commies here at home to cover and the under.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Washington on this one. There was, just to throw this out there was memes out there making fun of Geno Smith, saying that everybody wrote back to him right now, and they had him with the mean face. Just had to throw that out there. Maybe Geno might actually take that, and actually come back and prove anybody who's going against them this week wrong. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with the Washington Commanders on this one. They got the better team, and they more of a playoff type of team. I could see more than the Raiders. The Raiders was not really that good last year, and adding Geno Smith and maybe Leevon Cooper Cup, and that was it. Really, they didn't. In other words, I'm basically saying they didn't really push the goalposts up to me to be a playoff team. They're on the. But anyway, I want to take the Commanders. I want to take the under.
Also take the Commanders, but I will take the over here, and I will lock this in. I don't think either defense is actually has been impressive at this point. And the Commanders, I think I spoke about the Commanders defense going into the season, about just kind of the age and their situation on defense is, they're still, I think, a year or two away from being, everything that Dan Quinn wants it to be. But on offense, they can score points, and Raiders have not shown, they've shown the ability to score points when the defense, is not giving Geno a whole bunch of pressure. I don't think the Washington will get a whole bunch of pressure on him, but I think they'll be able to put up some points and put up some numbers against that Raiders defense, which doesn't, outside of Crosby, doesn't really, bring much to be afraid of on that side of the ball. So I'll take the Commanders. I'll give the 3.5 points here, and I'll take the over and lock that in as my second lock of the week. Leevon, over to you.
But can you throw locks on my Jets prediction and my Colts prediction? So that should put me at 4. I had
you locked in with the Jets, but not the Colts. Okay.
Yeah, put me in for the Colts. So that got me at 4. Yep. I'm with you guys on this. I think we're all on the same page. The Raiders. I don't know how the Raiders snuck into Aaron top 10 or top anything. That's an unimpressive team as there is anywhere. I've never been a big Geno fan personally. I mean, he won't throw 3 interceptions every game, but that's on par for his entire career, except for that stint in Seattle, where it seems he played all right. But the Commanders also, the Commanders are one of the oldest teams in the league. A lot of people don't realize that they are going the route of trying to capitalize on Jaden early, and they have a lot of veterans around him, a lot of guys that are peak and possibly looking on the downside of the hill, the mountain, so to speak. The Wagners, the Lattimores, they got Kinlaw. They brought in Kinlaw. So they're not, people look at Jaden and be like one of the young up-and-coming teams, and that's not necessarily the case. They're an older team, one of the older teams in the league, and they need to have a lead. They're the type of team that plays best when they have a lead, which I think they'll have in this game at home with the extra rest. Have it last played on Thursday against the Packers with that bad taste in the mouth. Looking at that team, they basically lost against the Packers badly, and they didn't look their best against the Giants. So there are a lot of questions probably swirling about how good they really are. They want to come out at home and prove that they're better than how they played these last 2 games. So the points, and I picked the over. I did. So give me the Redskins, those points, and the over.
Almost did it, Leevon. You almost went through an entire prediction
Commanders.
talking about
Damn
Washington
it!
without calling them the Redskins.
I really tried that time.
You really did. I was giving you credit.
Tried.
I was giving you credit, and then you went in there and dropped off. Maybe next week.
Really tried.
All right. Broncos at the Chargers. The Chargers are 2-0. The Broncos are 1-1. The Chargers are at home for the first time. This is their home opener after opening up the season in Brazil in week 1 against the Chiefs, and then in Kansas City. I'm sorry, in Vegas for week 2 against the Raiders. This is their third straight divisional game. So they will be getting all of their first 3 divisional games out of the way in the first 3 weeks of the season, which, take it or leave it, is probably pretty good, to get those games out of the way, because you start out 3-0 and you're 3-0 in the division, and that bodes well for you to, hoist that division crown, when you get into the playoff races. But anyway, the Broncos are 3-point favorites over the Broncos here, and the over-under is 44.5. Leevon, we'll go back to you for this pick. Chargers -3 against the Broncos.
The Broncos performed the way they did defensively against the Colts last week. Shock. Know what that means? I mean, that's supposed to be really good defense in the league, and they gave it up against the Colts team that we're all surprised by. I don't know what that means. That's one of those things. It's like, what does this mean? Is the Broncos defense not good? Because that's really all they really have. They're a deep first team. Has an efficient enough offense, and that's how they won games last year. So I don't know what they have. I do know that I'm going to stick with the team I picked before the season even started and told everybody this team is going to improve and was going to take the division. So with that being said, I am going to take the Broncos to lose a close one, but the Chargers will win this game, but they will win it by less than 3 points. The under. I think the defense for Broncos bounces back. I think it's a close game. The Chargers start the year 3-0, both in the division.
As it looks like the Dolphins are going to lose this game 28-21.
Womp womp.
Another bonehead play.
Do it through that pick.
Great teams win.
Well, the pick.
Good teams win. Great
bad.
teams cover.
Talking about the punt, ran into the kicker.
Was bad, but the punt thing
kicker.
That's the part that's horrible. That's the part that you just can't do. That's what losing teams do.
What was the line on this before? Because Ace said it grew.
11.
Before.
It was 11.5.
It was 12.5.
It was 12.5.
Was it always 12?
Up until kickoff.
Yeah, it was 11.5 like 2 days ago.
All right, I knew the Dolphins would keep it close.
Yeah, I picked the Dolphins as well because I like the points in that one. I didn't think the Bills would win it by more than 10 points.
Unimpressive 3-0 team. There's not many impressive undefeated teams, like I said, except Green Bay so far, and the Chargers right now. That's it.
And, over to you, Chargers, Broncos. Chargers 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers. It looks like the Chargers is about to pull a hat trick here. They've been facing every single game so far with them has been a divisional game. They definitely gonna keep the gas on the pedal on the metal, gas, whatever you want to call it. Just putting anything out there, but they're just gonna beat the snot out of the Broncos on this one. I don't see any type of way that the Broncos is gonna win this, even though I do like the Broncos defense and stuff like that in this. But I'm definitely gonna go with the Chargers in this one. Last week they were faced against the Raiders. They beat the snot out of them 20-9. Week before that, they beat the Chiefs by a touchdown. So I'm gonna go with the same exact thing. I think they're just gonna they're gonna win this, and they're gonna win it by a little bit. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one.
Bo Nix has looked bad these first 2 weeks.
Sorry, I'm gonna make this my lock. Was it 4th lock?
That is your 4th lock.
I'm gonna make my 4th lock. Sorry about that.
No worries. Bo Nix has looked bad, and the Chargers defense looks legit. Those are the 2 notes that I had for this game. The Chargers defense looks like they are, they're playing at a high level, and not for nothing, Justin Herbert looks like he's playing at a potential MVP level, at least for the first 2 weeks of the season. So Those three things just kind of in the bag there. I like the Chargers to continue rolling, although I don't like this as a lock because again, this is a divisional game. This is the third time that that they played a divisional game. But if they're gonna prove that they're the best team in this division, winning this game at home for your home opener is the best way to go ahead and get that done. So I like the Chargers. I like the under, not locking it in, but definitely feel like the Chargers are the better team playing, and they're playing the best right now. They're absolutely best right now, and Harbaugh will have them playing. We'll have them playing the state football. So
in this game, easy. They have the best offensive line, I believe, in the NFL. They have a really good running back with the rookie. I do not remember his name right now, but I don't really think that matters. And Quentin Johnson is looking like a Pro Bowler, which is kind of surprising because everybody thought he was going to be kind of counted out. He's been a really good speed receiver, and adding back Keenan Allen has been key for them as a really good possession receiver. They don't even really need to go to the tight end that much, who kind of stays in the block. Chargers roll in this one. Easy win, easy pick. How many locks do I have? Is it 3?
you have 4.
I have 4. I do? Who's the 4th one?
You have the Steelers, Colts, and the Commanders.
All right, then I'm going to save it. But, yeah, I agree with Ant. The Chargers are going to crush in this one. And the over.
Just on a side note, I love that 31-21 beatdown that is happening. I think I picked the over. I think I might have missed it.
The over is 50.5, so this is 52.
Okay. Whoa. Kobe.
All right. Saints at the Seahawks. Saints 0-2, Seahawks 2-0. The line here is 7. Seahawks are favored in this one. The Seahawks are coming off of a win in Pittsburgh after their home loss against the 49ers in Week 1. Looking to rebound a little bit at home against a Saints team that has played hard and played up to their opponents' levels at times over the course of those first 2 games. The first one against the Cardinals and the second one against the 49ers. But just haven't played well enough to win. And now those games were at home for New Orleans. Now they are on the road, and they will be challenged, mightily against the Seahawks team and the 12 out there in Seattle. So Seahawks -7 against the Saints. Ace, will start with you on this.
Even an underdog story, and I like Spencer Rattler and the boys. The Seahawks have a really good defense, but I do not think much of their offense. They keep grinding out wins, and I don't think them beating anybody more than a touchdown is anybody. So I'm going to take the Saints to cover.
Here, I think the Saints is going to march their way down to being the worst team. Even though I said earlier the Brownsers, I think the Saints might actually do that, in my opinion, now I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to go with Sam Darnold. I'm going to go with the Darnold on this one. And no, I'm not even going to say it that way. I'm going to go with Sam. Sam Darnold on this one. And I'm going to take the, what's the line on this?
41.5.
Yeah, I think Sam Darnold can pull it off. Seattle Seahawks is at home. I think they can actually pull it off, and I think that the Saints might actually can score some points against this defense because I can't believe Leonard Williams is still actually in the league. Yeah, he was okay. He lost his touch when he lost his green.
If I believe the Hawks are the second best team in this division in their division, then I believe they should be able to beat the Saints by more than 7 points at home. And so I'm gonna take the Seahawks and I'll lock this in as well. This is my 3rd lock of the week. I just think the Seahawks looked really good both defensively and offensively against a team in Pittsburgh that they were supposed to struggle against. They didn't struggle much at all in that game. And, coming back to play against the Saints team that still hasn't figured out who they are yet, I think it bodes well for them to come out here and coast to a victory at home. So I will take the Seahawks, and I will give those 7 points and lock this in as my lock of the week.
Just to let you know, Malik, the Seahawks is actually the worst team, technically.
In what?
In terms of record.
No, I'm not even counting because I don't think Arizona's played me.
Oh God!
And,
Okay.
I think that I meant to look at our playoff picks to see where the Seahawks landed in all of our predictions.
Shoot, we have to change that.
You actually had the Seahawks as first. I had them third. Leevon had them third, and the Ace had them last in this division.
So far, Ace is right.
That's not gonna.
Leevon, over to you.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Ant and Aaron here.
I know what
Saints,
I speak.
The Saints are going down to the 12th, and Spencer Rattler is going to keep this close. What and with who? I see that. This game is not going to be close. That 7.5 is generous. I put the Seahawks cover and the under. I don't think the Saints break. I don't think the Saints 14. I think this is something like 28 in. So this is going to be one of week 3.
Ace, your team, well, one of them, the Chicago hosting the Dallas Cowboys. I'm pretty sure this is Fox's game of the week. Actually, this is probably the game that. Yeah, I think this is the game that Brady's going to be calling. The Cowboys are. I'm sorry. Am I correctly? Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly.
You are.
Yes. Oh, the Cowboys going to beat the shit out of them. Yeah.
No, the Cowboys
are favored by a point.
Favored by 1. The Cowboys are favored by 1 here. The Bears are not favored in this game. The Cowboys are favored 1.5, depending on the book. I think this did open with the Cowboys. With the Bears favored, but it's flipped. So it's still, relatively a pick 'em in most people's eyes. Over under on this is 50.5. The Bears are coming off of the aforementioned loss in Detroit, and are 0-2, for coming back home. And the Cowboys had a thrilling victory against the Giants that everybody thought they were going to smoke, including the 4 of us. People locked that game.
Actually, we all locked that game
for the Cowboys.
All the way from Atlanta.
Yeah, we all locked that game, Cowboys, and they did not look great in holding that down. So right now, the Cowboys are 1-point favorites on the road, and the over/under in this is 50.5. Ace, of course, I'm going to start with you, your Bears. How do they bounce back, or is this another Dak offensive game for the Cowboys?
Dakota's gonna get his ass handed to him. They're not gonna be asking how about them Cowboys. They're gonna be asking how about them Cowboys losing by 10. Give me the Bears. I'm locking this in for my 5th lock of the. That's how confident I am. The Cowboys are one of the worst defenses in the league. Caleb Williams on a field day with this team, and they're finally going to be able to get the running game going because the Cowboys have a terrible run defense as well. So that's something that they weren't able to take care of with Detroit, because Detroit's actually pretty good against the run, bad against the pass, as shown by the 21 points they gave up to the Bears. And Chicago should roll on them pretty easily this week. I think the defense is going to take some pride and shut down Dak Prescott and get some more pressure, because the offensive line isn't as good since those guys retired. The guard and I think they lost. What's his name? All of the guys that were holding out to try to get their money. But yeah, Dak's going to be running for his life, and the Cowboys can't really run the ball well, so that also doesn't bode well for them. So having to go up and play not in a dome in Chicago, I think is going to affect them. And that turf is never really good anyway, so yeah, expect the Bears to crush in this one. Totally invited.
Yeah, thank you for letting me go after that.
I heard it sounded like you were chomping at the bit to talk about this as he was going. So I said,
he might as well just say, give me the Bears 77-0. You might as well
give me the Bears 28-14.
I mean, okay. Look. Ace is not wrong. Dallas's pass defense is limping. Diggs has got the bad knee. He looks slow. I don't know if Bland is coming back for this game. The Elam kid was a bust in Buffalo, and he's still a bust in Dallas. They can be had through the air. But to just assume Caleb Williams is going to turn into Patrick Mahomes after 6 quarters of underwhelming football. 6. That's the second half against Minnesota and the entire game against Detroit. I I mean, I need a little bit of trepidation in your voice would have sold a little bit more for me.
He had a good first half against Detroit, in fairness. Detroit took off on us in the second half.
Okay.
The first half of that game was 21-14.
Did you ever have a lead?
It was 28-14.
Did you ever? There's a 2 touchdown.
No, it was tied up at one point, 14.
I'm not trying to attack your fandom. It's fine. I actually picked the Bears to upset because I think Ben Johnson and the Bears do not want to go 0-3. They're at home. Dallas did escape by the skin of their teeth in the game they should have lost at home against the Giants. Ben Johnson, who is a good offensive coordinator, is he a good coach to scheme up something through the air and take advantage of those weaknesses that Bears defense can at the very least play as good as the Giants did last week? I think the Bears upset. I do, but I said a little bit more trepidation and a little bit more.
I'm taking the home dog.
Doubt.
Stop talking.
No, I mean you gotta keep it a bundle here, man.
Stop
You're talking
talking
like you guys just won the last 4 Super Bowls. It's like we're gonna roll.
How many games did the Cowboys win last year?
More than you.
One
anyway,
more.
Give me the upset. Give me the Bears to upset, win this game outright at home. And the over. What? And the wait. Nope. I picked the under. Yeah, 50.5. No. Give me the under on that. The under.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, the weather here. What's the weather looking like in this situation? It's not going to be cold, obviously.
It's always sunny in Chicago, baby.
Light rain. This is light rain, 68. I'm going to take the under. Under on the point spread. I think the Cowboys should win this game. Honestly, they should win this game. The big question for me, man, about the Bears is, what happens on play 15? Off a number 15. The script plays. The script that Caleb Williams goes off of in the very first drive of the first 2 games has been fantastic. That's not been a problem. It's been the 35 or so other plays that come after the script has been run, and things start to break down. Caleb Williams has looked really bad at certain points in both games this season. This is not me being a Bears hater or anything along those lines. As a matter of fact, I've had no problem with Williams. I had no problems with him being the number 1 pick. Had no problem with him going to Chicago, and I was a little pissed that he went to Chicago because I figured he was going to be really good. But anyway, he hasn't been, and I think this is just a growing pain. He's going to be a lot to learn with respect to the offensive system in Chicago, and he's going to need time. And he hasn't had a lot of time to do it yet. He hasn't had a lot of time to learn it yet. And Ben Johnson has been very vocal about how his team has played, how his team has practiced, and what kind of effort that he's getting from these guys, and he's been very vocal about it. He's not mincing any words. So I think this is going to be a good game. But I like what the Cowboys, at the very least, I like the Cowboys are doing offensively. So I think this hits. I think the over is very much in play because of how bad the Cowboys defense has been. But essentially, I think that the Cowboys should be able to win this game by 3 points. By 3 points. I think the spread here is so low that you can just take the team that you believe is the better team at this point. And I think they're led by the better quarterback. So I want to take Dak Prescott and the Cowboys to win this game. And Chicago will continue to fight to try to figure out where they're going to get that elusive first win of the season. And over to you.
Yeah, the way Ace was talking like he was the 85 Bears was going to stop Dak Prescott over there. Y'all guys was being a little bit quite nice to Ace. There was literally memes on Facebook after that game that showed Ben Johnson looking all nice and happy when he was with Detroit, and ready to go smiling fresh and everything is all great and everything. So showing his last press conference with the Bears, looking all disheveled and old hair, and they basically compared it to the presidents leaving office. And you've seen those things before. Presidents leaving office, they coming all fresh, they all old and fucked up. And yeah, that's how Ben Johnson looked like after 2 weeks. And it to some of these Bears radio shows, they literally calling out Caleb Williams on this thing. Because they're like, Ben Johnson calls one play, and all of a sudden Caleb Williams mixing it up, and he calls his own backyard play and starts playing hero ball, tossing it all over the place. I'm just gonna go from last week. I'm gonna put another image in everybody's minds. I don't know if anybody. This might actually show how old I am. if you ever seen those Bugs Bunny cartoons when the character walks down the line and all those guys are hitting him in the ass or whatever, and then he turns and he goes back and they hit him in the ass again. Last week it was the Lions hitting his ass, and this week the Chicago Bears gonna turn around and they're gonna be hitting him in the behind again. Hey yo, yeah, whatever. But if you ever seen those cartoons, that's what happens. They're gonna beat the shit out of him. So I'm gonna see a blowout here. Pause again. A beatdown. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I'm gonna take the over. This is gonna be a beatdown against. Expect another 50-point beatdown on the Bears because I'm not picking them after last week. After last week, they got to prove themselves.
Damn. Bears gonna get up 50 again at home. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And they're gonna be putting Caleb Williams and they're gonna be looking at the draft.
Wow. I forgot to mention I am locking at the Cowboys as my fourth lock of the week. Lock this or no?
No, I'm not locking.
Okay. Cardinals at the 49ers. Is this the most boring game of the week? I don't know. The Cardinals games have been relatively boring. I've watched both of their games on replay, and neither one of them kept me awake for very long. The 42.5-point favorites here. It looks like Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback again this week. Both these teams are 2-0. Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback again this week, but the initial predictions of Brock Purdy being out for 2 to 5 weeks looks like it's trending more towards the 2 because he's questionable for this game. And Kittle is still out, so we'll see. Likely still see the same 49ers that we've seen: Christian McCaffrey and Juwan Jennings in the crew. Brandon Ayuk is still out as well, so. This team is still a little banged up, but they've limped along and they've won their first 2 games of the season. Cardinals have also won their first 2 games of the season after playing both the Saints and the Panthers, 2 of the predicted worst teams in the NFL. So the 49ers are 2.5-point favorites at home hosting the Cardinals. And I'm going to start this one with you.
The 49ers are linked to the Panthers. They're not the 2 worst teams in there. They might be injured, but they're still a good team. Brock Purdy's getting on my nerves. I'm going to be injured or stay on the IR or you're not. I got fantasy lining on this. I got a roster spot here. Go on the IR till you're ready. But anyway, as far as this thing is concerned, I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this one. I'm not going to make this my lock, but I'm going to take the Cardinals and I'm going to take the under.
It's going to be easy as well. I'm going to take the 49ers. I will take the under as well. I don't like this pick in the least bit. I don't like Mac Jones. I don't want to pick Mac Jones.
Oh, my fault. I said Cardinals. My fault. Sorry about that. 49ers. Sorry about that.
No, can't take it back.
No, that's what I meant. That's why I kept on saying that they play. I was mentioning Cardinals is going against the worst 2 teams as well. I'm not going to pick them. What the hell am I pick them for?
I was wondering.
Kyler Murray's a better quarterback in this situation, but I just don't know much about. I don't know if I can.
Not Pee Wee football
yet. I don't know if I can this team yet. They'd have to go and win a game on the road like this in order for me to believe that they can really contend in this division. So this is one of the probably fakest 2-0 teams that I think exists in the NFL right now. So I'll take the 49ers, no lock, but I'll take the 49ers again. Leevon.
You guys said Saints and the Panthers. Heck of a draw for the first 2 games. Give me the Niners. Give me the Niners to win this one. And I picked 9 to cover and over those 45.5.
All right.
49ers sweep. Their defense is better, and I think Mac Jones can play within the offense well enough and use the weapons around him to get a win. Juwan Jennings had a very good game last week, and I expect him to have another good game again. Maserati Moff and Trey McBride are not playing great, and I don't expect them to. Kyler Murray does always play the Niners tough, but I don't think they're going to play them tough up in San Francisco. So give me the 49ers to win.
All right. Sunday football. Leevon's Giants hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Both of these teams are 0-2. Surprising for one of them, but not so much for the other.
Wow.
The Chiefs are -6 on the road in New York against the Giants. And the over-under on this one is 45.5. Leevon, I'm just going to start here with you. Not much preamble for this game. I want to start here with you and hear what your thoughts about this one. Your Giants getting 6 points at home against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm too much time on this. It's hard to stay objective for me too. And I struggle because for me, objective goes the other way. I easily believe that Andy Reid is in no way, shape, or form with Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and that team going to go 0-3 on the season and wave the white flag at that point, trying to go back to the Super Bowl and compete and make the playoffs. I have a hard time believing that, but thinking objectively and how the Giants have gotten better from 1 week to the next, they've been 2 weeks. Played Dallas close in Dallas. And looking at both teams constructed, taking into account that Kansas City offensively hasn't looked very good. Mahomes is their leading rusher. Dropping passes. He looks old, like I said, before the season started. Older. Not entirely sure he wants to keep doing this football thing. More into his life after football podcast, getting married, et cetera, et cetera. No Rice. Worthy might be back for this one. Almost positive he will play, if in a limited fashion or not. And the Giants, you just don't know. Like I said, Dallas's secondary is limping. They took advantage of that. The run game is iffy. The offensive line is also iffy. I think Karlaftis and Chris Jones pose a definite threat, a much bigger threat than the Micah Parsons Cowboys did. But I do think that 6 is too big. I think based on what the Giants did last week, I think that 6 is too big. So I'm taking the Giants to lose by less than that, but I do think they lose Sunday night. And let me see, I go over or under. Giants to cover those points and the over.
8.
It's ridiculous. I think I've heard Leevon say all night.
Okay.
He did all that talking up the Chiefs, talking about how much of a better team they are, talking about how they're healthy except for their receivers, and then he comes back and says they're not going to cover. He must be out of his mind.
Okay.
If this was a West Coast team, I might agree with you. Traveling from West to East has a huge effect, which is why I took the Eagles, which is also why I took the, whatever. It's neither nor there or anywhere. The point is, when you're traveling from Central Time Zone, it's not going to have that much of an effect on your body clock. Travis Kelce's not going to drop another 1-yard pass. The Giants' secondary is basura caliente. Give me the Chiefs and give me the over. This is going to be the first game. I don't think the Chiefs still can't run the ball very well. I just think they need to expect not to have too many false start penalties, and they should be able to clear this by a touchdown. They're definitely going to win this game. But I do like the fact that both of these teams are 0-2, so no matter who wins, somebody's going to have a 1 next to their record after this. Give me the Chiefs. Easy win for them. If they can run the ball, they'll kill them. And if they can't run the ball, it'll be close.
Yeah, but anyway.
That would be hilarious.
I'll lock in the Chiefs as well here. I'm not afraid of the number. I think, Leevon, you made a good early point about the Chiefs and Andy Reid and just like finding it very. I think one of the things is like.
Do you think Nick Wright will be right on the Chiefs sideline, just next to them?
No, I doubt he'll be at the game, but I doubt he'll be on the sideline. It's one of the things. It's hard to without a team lose, their number one guy, their quarterback or their coach or something like that. It's kind of hard to predict dynasty falls. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of hard to. It would have been impossible to predict when the Bulls were going to fall from grace if Jordan and Pippen and all those guys were still there. When those guys leave, then it's relatively easy. But when they're still there, it's just hard to see. It's, you're always kind of believing that they'll right the ship, they'll figure it out at some point in time, and that's kind of where I am with the Chiefs. They've lost two difficult, close games against two very good teams. One the defending Super Bowl champions, and the other a team that all of us believed was going to be in the race for that in the AFC West this season. So for them to come into this 0-2, I think none of us would have been surprised if they would have been 1-1 coming into this game. But 0-2 is as much of a shock as it appears to be because it's the Chiefs. You don't feel like they feel like they're like the best 0-2 team that you can probably could imagine in the last few years. That said, I do believe that the Giants can keep this game close. I just think the Chiefs can win this game by 7 and close it out. So I'll take the Chiefs to win a relatively hard fought game by a touchdown. So 6 points there intrigues me to that degree. So I'll take the Chiefs. I'll take the over in the game, and I will lock this in as my fifth and final lock of the week. And over to you.
Are going to be because that's what counts. But anyway,
Wow.
This is going to be a primetime game. I do not believe in the Giants. This game should have been flexed out because they don't belong there. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one. I'm locking this in. I'm taking the over. What is it, about fifth lock?
This is, yes.
Yeah, I want to go. Yeah. I don't want to be playing no lock games with Detroit and Baltimore. So I'm going to go with the easier game just so I can get the win. I'm going to go take the Chiefs. I'm going to take the win. I'm going to take the over. They're going to beat the shit out of the Giants. Hey, my crap out of Ace's team's going to get beat the crap out of, and Leevon's team's going to get the beat the crap out of. The only team that's going to win.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, no, the Bears going to beat out of them. That's the reason why they're in my top losing teams. They're just right now playing who's going to be last. And I'm locking in this Kansas team too. He's going to be the over. Beat down.
All right. Night football, last game of the week. The Lions, my Detroit Lions, going to Baltimore to face Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. This is probably the toughest game for me to call. I'm gonna go last here. I want to hear what you guys think first and foremost. But the Ravens are 4.5 point favorites hosting the Lions. Both teams are 1-1. Both teams coming off of like debilitating, difficult, bad losses, and then really, really good wins against teams that are probably the worst teams in their respective division. The Ravens are at home, and so that's where this 4.5 point spread comes from. Leevon, I'm going to start with you here. Monday Night Football, Ravens, 4.5 point favorites over the Lions. Over-under is 52.5. It's the highest over-under of the week.
I was there myself because I was eating chips and I didn't want the crunching to go over all of that giant slander. You three better be careful if my team covers or upsets. That's all I'm saying.
That's a big hit.
I mean, look, I didn't outright disrespect the Giants.
Like, okay.
I don't know. I don't think I outright disrespected the Giants, but I did.
I mean, Sydney. We'll wax on that. We'll wax on that when the time comes.
Oh, KC's gonna wax on the Giants.
The Lions. The Lions. Shootout game. If this is Detroit, I'd pick Detroit, but it's not. But I do think it'll be closer than the points. I think Detroit will cover. It'll be a close game. The over, and the Ravens will squeak it out. Unlike they did against Buffalo, I think they will squeak out this game against Detroit. But it's going to be exciting to watch. It'll be a back and forth affair. Yeah, so give me Detroit with those points and over.
Are you locking this right now?
Yeah. I was, no, because I was locking in the Giants game. I was like, nah, let me not do that because we all lock in our favorite teams. But yeah, I'm going to lock that in only because I'm low on it. I'm low on it, so I want to lock it, make it even more that when it comes through. So put my lock on the Giants and the points in that game against Kansas City, prime time. I'm even more confident about it, as a matter of fact. Even more than it was before.
Ed, over to you.
On the call, last time we remember the Ravens was in a nice little primetime game. They was actually winning against the Bills. The Bills came back and won. But Detroit on this one. I'm gonna take the over on this one. I'm just throwing out a lot of BS, but I'm gonna go with Detroit on this one. I think Detroit has one thing that the Ravens can't stop. They actually have multiple weapons that they can go against them, something that the Bills didn't have. Bills can just throw on Superman and run around all day. But Detroit actually looks like they against their favorite punching bag, the Chicago Bears. So they got their weekly, their 1 week preseason game out the way. So I think they're ready to go with the Ravens. I can't lock that in, but I'm glad I don't have to lock it in because that can go either way. You can just flip a coin and go either way. I'm staying away from this game as far as for any type of betting, in my opinion.
Your adopted team, Ravens hosting the Lions -4.5.
As a Ravens fan since 1996,
Stop your damn lie.
to be taking the Baltimore Ravens. Jared Goff doesn't play very well outside. I expect him to throw at least one pick, and that's going to be the difference in the game. And I expect the Ravens to play a bit more conservative on offense, and they're going to hold on and win this one. I think the fact that the Lions are able to run the ball is going to give them problems, but I think that's going to even out because of Derrick Henry on the other side of the ball. I think neither team is really going to have much of a pass rush in this game. I think sporadically they may get 1 or 2 sacks, but I don't think it's really going to just be one defensive line dominating the other team's offensive line. I think both teams' offensive lines are better than the other team's defensive line. And the main thing that's going to come down to is the Ravens' ability to cover better than the Lions can. That's just my opinion. And Zay Fly have a big game in this one. He's going to need to. And they're going to need to go to the tight ends for the both of them. I think Likely is getting healthier. He's been sitting out, but he was a limited participant in practice. And Mark Andrews is a full participant. So they're going to need Mark Andrews to play well and at a high level to win this one. So I'm going to go with the Ravens mainly because they're at home. And the Lions aren't even changing the time zone. So they're going from a home game to playing outside, but Jared Goff struggles more outside. It's Monday night to have an extra day for recovery, so there shouldn't really be much of a problem. The weather's going to be 70 degrees, so I don't even think weather's going to be that much of a problem in Baltimore. So, yeah. Kind of standard, though.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was just asking Malik last week when the Bears faced the Lions. Was the Lions at home or the Bears?
No, the Lions were at home.
I just wanted to make sure that, because they talked about the Southside thing to see if it was a factor. I just wanted to make sure that before. Maybe I might change my pick or something like that.
No, Malik even said, like, Jared Goff plays worse outside his entire career. It just, I don't know what it is, but it's just a thing with him. So, and I actually looked at the stats and, like, for whatever reason, he does not play as well outside. Even when he was playing, unless you go back to when he was playing in LA with the Rams, like, he did not play well out in outdoor stadiums for whatever reason. Like, not a complete game. And the Ravens have a really good defense, so I'm taking them to cover.
That's where I disagree with you, Ace. The Ravens don't have a really good defense. They have not had a really good defense so far this entire season. And if you include the game against the Browns,
Cleveland game, you gotta count it. But I mean,
if you include the Cleveland game, then okay. But they have not shown to have a dominant defense, at least not at this point, not thus far in the season. The Lions, just how focused the Lions are on trying to win this game. They actually signed former Ravens quarterback Malik Cunningham to the practice squad to specifically play the Lamar Jackson role against them in practice. Now, granted, there's no way to replicate Lamar Jackson and what he can absolutely do on the football field, but just to sign somebody for a week 3 football game it just proves how much this team is focused on trying to get this win and get themselves back on the plus side of the ledger, and also get a win against a team that everybody believes universally is one of the top 2 or 3 teams, or top 5 teams in the NFL. So just to see that and to see how seriously they're taking this opportunity, definitely bodes well in my prediction that the Lions will at the very, very least cover this game, if not win it outright. The last time the Lions went to Baltimore, they were absolutely thoroughly embarrassed, 38-6. I still remember that, and I know Dan Campbell and the team still remembers that ass kicking that they got when they went to Baltimore. I remember everything about that game. It was completely dominated by the Ravens from the very beginning. And Ace, you're right off with a mistake by Jared Goff. He has to be mistake-free. He has to play mistake-free football, and the Lions have to run the ball extremely well in order to keep the Ravens at bay and keep them off balance defensively, and allow for that play-action passing game to really start to carve things up and allow Jared Goff to carve things up. The main difference between that game and this game is twofold. One, the Lions didn't have Jahmyr Gibbs. The starting running back for the Lions at that time was David Montgomery, and he was backed up by DeAndre Swift, who's now playing for the Bears. And the other thing on the other side of that is the Lions were not playing with nearly as good players at the cornerback positions as they have now with DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold. And they didn't have Brian Branch. They didn't have Kirby Joseph playing at an all-pro level. So I think their secondary is way better than it was against the Ravens a couple of years ago. So all that said, I don't lock on this, so I'm not able to lock this in. But I do believe the Lions have more than enough to cover and like playing on prime time, and so they'll play well enough to cover this number. I think it's going to be a back and forth game, very interesting, and I plan on being very tired on Tuesday. Once this game plays on Monday, it'll be a very difficult work day for me. Win or lose, I'll just be watching this game, and then I'll probably watch the replay immediately follow. All right, that's it.
I'm definitely proud of my pick then.
Oh no. Let me get to my college picks real quick.
No. I was going to say, that's it for this week of NFL games. Ace, do you have any college picks that you want to?
I damn sure do. Illinois at Indiana on NBC at 7:30. Illinois is getting 5.5 points. Indiana's been playing very weak teams all year. This is the best team they're going to play. They're going to get tested. Big Ten West game, or former Big Ten West game. I'm taking Illinois. Vanderbilt, after beating South Carolina in South Carolina, 28-3. Crush them. They're playing Georgia State at home. Georgia State is a Sun Belt FBS team. Vanderbilt is minus 27.5. That still may not be enough points. Vanderbilt's going to beat the hell out of them. Give me Vanderbilt. Mike, Florida's Florida. And you just beat USF. You beat Florida by a couple of points. Florida's going to try as hard as they can. Florida's defense is pretty good. They got beat by LSU last week, even though DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions. They only lost by 12 points. Miami has a much better offensive line and defensive line. They're going to beat the brakes off Florida. Huge rivalry game that Florida ended, and I think they're going to regret bringing this one back. And last but not least, he is playing Michigan State. Michigan State has to travel all the way to the West Coast, and this game is starting at 8 p.m. LA time. USC is going to roll on them, minus 17.5 for USC. And I'm going to take them to cover that. If you really want to gamble a lot, you can take Colorado. Wyoming's coming to play Colorado. Josh Allen's former college team, and they're pretty bad, and Colorado's getting a lot better each week. And a lot of these power conference schools kind of beat up on the bad schools, which is why they pay them in these bye games to come they head kicked it. And if you want an upset, you can take Tulane at University of Mississippi, 3:30 on ESPN. Tulane just beat Duke, who took their quarterback from last season. And Tulane took the quarterback from BYU because he had sacks, and you're not allowed to do that at BYU in undergrad, which is why that school is late. Go Tulane.
All right. So let's roll over to shout outs before out of here. Ant, we'll start with you.
This one last week. Shout out to Omar Membu, the Jets rookie right tackle. He's basically turned into for week one. He might as well be nicknamed IHOP because he was having a whole lot of pancakes against TJ Watt. There was no sacks or nothing like that on him. He was basically the best tackle of that week of week one. And I'm not talking about rookies, I'm talking about overall. But just shout outs to him. And also, before I forget, shout outs to Tua as well. This game he did Tua things, and Miami sucks. So shout outs to them. Hopefully, Jets can win on Sunday, but I doubt it. Tua, shout outs to you.
You're up next.
I think he's eating chips.
Oh, yeah.
All right. No, I'll be moving around, doing laundry, getting ready for tomorrow. So I didn't want to interrupt anybody with background noise. But shout out the New York Liberty, the defending WNBA champions for probably not much longer. They won the first game in OT against the Mercury, and the second game got blown. I was watching that second game and tried to stay connected and attached to it. But when they missed 9 out of 10 free throws, I had said to myself, I got better things to do with my time at this point, and then to watch them miss free throws. And they ended up getting blown out in that game. So shout out to them. Last year was pretty exciting. I'll be rooting for them to maybe pull out the upset. It will be an upset if they can somehow beat the Mercury, because the Mercury did take the season series 3-1. And they do seem like the better team, so it would be quite the upset. But shout out to them. They brought us championship basketball to New York, and that hasn't been done in a while. Pointing to the New York Knicks in the Garden. That's all I got.
All right.
Shout out to New York Yankees for locking up the wild card and making sure that they didn't have to play into the play or the single elimination game, which I think is insane to make them do in baseball. All these stupid wild card games more people watch, but I still think it's dumb, but it is what it is. It's just, MLB trying to make their postseason matter more and make it more random and have more people pitch. And so that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Shout out to the Sheriffs and shout out to my UV Bulls for having a winning record after week 3. It's not easy for a MAC team to do that, but they did pull it off. And shout out to Tulane, man, being 3-0 and taking the lead as the front runners to possibly make the Group of 5 in the Group 5 spot in the CFP. It's either going to be them or maybe Ohio, depending on how it goes for them. Although they got blown out by Ohio State, they still beat the other power conference team that they played. And I think the Liberty are going to steal this game against Phoenix. They just need Stewie to have a really good game in the next one. I think she's the biggest limiting factor. And shout out to Indiana, especially because they got it done with Justin Lee of Boston. She's in that series, and Vegas just closed this one out by 1 point. So shout out to Asia Wilson, who is still the best player in the W. As much as everybody wants to anoint the next one's coming up, the Las Vegas Aces were back-to-back champs for a reason, and she is still that chick. And that's it for
Front. Aced with Thunder a little bit there, shouting out the Yankees. They played much better going into the end of the season. They've won 5 straight, or 6 straight at this point. 5 straight going into this and looking like they finally got things trending in the right direction. Trent Grisham has been surprising, offensive juggernaut, basically. Next hitting next to Aaron Judge. He has 33 home runs and counting going into this, and did not expect that going into the beginning of the season. I still hate his mustache, but I like his game, so I'm good with it. He's a center fielder, so he's playing pretty well. Shout out to Clayton Kershaw. He announced his retirement at the end of the season. He is set to retire. He has had a Hall of Fame career, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, Hall of Famer in my book, and he plans to retire at the end of the season. Probably the nastiest curveball I've ever seen. That's probably what I would say about it. Probably got the nastiest curveball I've ever seen. And
better than Doc Gooden?
Yes, and his wind-up makes it even nastier in my opinion. I think Doc Gooden probably had like the best overall stuff of any pitcher this side of Nolan Ryan in my opinion. But I think just the wind-up and his release and all of that stuff just made Clayton Kershaw impossible to hit, in my opinion, once he was able to get his curveball over. But absolutely incredible player. Loved watching him over the course of his career. Shout out to you. And hopefully you try to make a run with the Dodgers this year to close out your season. Shout out to Packers offensive lineman Rasheed Walker. I love this. I love this so much. The Packers are 2-0. They're off to a terrific start. No shade there. No shade there. But I love when offensive linemen jump on to whatever podcast or whatever show that they get to be on and start talking about undefeated seasons. Yes, Rasheed Walker made a comment that he believes that the team can go undefeated. He says, "I think we can go undefeated, honestly. Pound for pound, I look at these teams and I don't really see who's better than us, honestly. That's why I can say that so confidently. Love it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Packers might lose their next 3 games just because of this. I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised. Bulletin board for the rest of the league. The rest of the league is paying attention to this stuff. And when an offensive lineman jumps, not a quarterback, not a receiver who you actually expect stuff like this, not even Micah Parsons, who you would actually be, he could actually live up to this potential. No, an offensive lineman, somebody that blocks up front, whose name we would not know if not for the fact that he's talking shit. Love it, absolutely love it. I'm glad it's there. Keep up with that. Keep that same energy, please. And last but not least, shout out to Clemson coach Dabo Swinney. I don't know if you guys heard him this week, but Dabo kind of went off on the media, pointing to potentially him being fired as a member of, as the head coach of the Clemson Tigers after starting out 1-2 on their season. Yes,
this is why I follow college football.
They did have a bad loss against Georgia Tech last week. They lost 24-21. That's not a game that you expected them to lose.
And your boy Brian Kelly is a wild man. He sounds like every angry white dude in Massachusetts when you ask him questions.
I'm not
like, really?
Brian Kelly's crazy. But anyway, Dabo went off on the reporter and basically told them, "Hey, you know what? If Clemson's tired of winning, then sure, they can fire me." He's been there 17 years. He's had 10 win seasons in 13 out of the last 14 years. He's been to the national championship game 4 times. He's been to the playoffs 8. He's won the ACC 8 out of 10 years. He's been in the playoffs like 10 times, national championship 4 times, won it twice, and we didn't even know Clemson existed as a school before Dabo Swinney started. And I know I've ripped on Dabo Swinney a number of times. I make fun of the guy because he's kind of fun to make fun of, but he's a damn good head coach in the college ranks and deserves the respect at the very least that he can turn things around. This team was ranked number 4 coming into the season. They've had a bad first 3 weeks of the year, but to even talk about letting him go, firing him after this first start, it makes no sense, especially in college. He's probably one of the most recognizable faces and names in the sport, and he's the reason why a lot of these players come to Clemson, because otherwise, who wants to go to South Carolina to go play football? Really? No. Nobody does want to do that.
Wow.
Clemson's a good school. Nothing wrong with that. But nobody wants to go there. They go there because there's an opportunity to play with Dabo Swinney, one of the best coaches in college football, and potentially get your name in some shining lights and get yourself to the NFL. Nobody goes there on purpose. We didn't know these guys before. Guys like Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence and who's the receiver? CD Lamb, didn't he go to Clemson?
I think the guy CD Lamb went to Texas A&M. Taj Boyd, and I believe who you're thinking of is DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, D-Hop. That's right. That's what.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Boyd.
Yeah, nobody knew Clemson that way before.
I thought CD went to Bama.
No.
You might be thinking of Julio.
Could have sworn CD went to Bama.
And it was I forgot that other one went to Clemson. The Spiller. Is that a running back? CJ Spiller.
Yeah. But I say, look, you know what? When you have a good coach, you keep him. You go through the ups and downs. You go through the rifts. He's only 55 years of age. He's not an old guy or an old coach by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, he's been there a long time, but leave the man alone. Dabo's a good coach. He'll turn things around. If not this year,
CD played for the Sooners.
He's perfectly fine. And with that,
so not Alabama.
Shout out.
No, he played for the Sooners. I was like Texas, and I was like, no.
Shout out to Dabo Swinney for defending him, and I am out.
Sorry.
Levon's good for that. Levon's good for adding in correction.
All of you.
No, I just heard.
We out.
Hey, I was quiet. I'll let you talk.
CD
I
Texas.
didn't say nothing. I was listening to everything. We out like Tua.